Welcome back. Mainframe Comic Con marches on. If you haven't gone over to the website yet, mainframecomiccon.com is the place to go. You want to get all your information on the schedule, events that are coming up, and most importantly, you want to be able to donate to the Hero Initiative, the charity that made all this free content possible, the charity that brings great comic creators here to your living room so that you can enjoy that content away from the conventions that we can't all get to these days. So go over there, click, donate a little money, but make sure you come back because we've got content happening in all 5 halls all day long. And here we are in Hall D, getting started right up again for the afternoon run here. And I'm bringing to you another great comic book creator. This time we have a writer extraordinaire, and he's going to be talking with you about dominating social media. Let me bring in Russell, and I'm going to have trouble with the last name. Nolte?
That's right.
Woo, I got it. So Russell's going to talk to you guys about social media, and I'm going to hang out backstage and soak this all in.
Awesome. So let us get started right away. I'm going to bring up my my PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully I can. There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I will try to go back for questions as we go in, but I'm going to talk to you about how to dominate on social media and make money doing it. So first things first, these are 3 of my social media accounts. You can see that 11,000 followers on Instagram, 26,000 on Twitter, 15,000 on Facebook. So while it's not hundreds of thousands or millions of fans, I certainly am doing pretty well on social media. And so I'm going to show you how I do it and hopefully set up a system where you can do it as well. So let's start first with some hard truths. Truth number 1, there is no such thing as a social media platform anymore. It's all algorithms. So you are fighting against the algorithm to get noticed, not against any real curators or anything. So your job is really to make posts that impress the algorithm, get them shown to the right people so that algorithm sees that they're popular and then starts showing them to more and more and more people. So truth number 2 is that not everything you do will work, especially in the beginning. So while I am starting, I will attempt to get you a process that you can use with very little effort. It's going to take you work to set up. But please know I'm not a fan of the hustle always mentality or being on every social media platform. I think it's one of the most pernicious things that we deal with as comic creators and as business owners. This idea that we have to be everywhere all at once and spend all of our time on social media instead of creating. I believe in creating. I believe in hustle, but with focused intention. When I dreamed of being a writer, I was sold a bill of goods. So every TV show and movie about writers showed them sitting out on a lake, doing very little and delivering 1 manuscript a year. It did not mention that I would have to be a social media manager, marketing expert, my own roadie, going from convention to convention to convention, writing 8 to 10 books a year and burning myself out. So my goal is to make you work smarter, not harder. And in the end, I hope you will be able to run this and get it set up in an hour a week, because that's how long it takes me, give or take, every week to get this stuff done. But you need a plan. And without a plan, you are doomed. Doomed. I failed 4 businesses before I learned that, including one that lasted less than 6 months. I launched products to crickets again and again. If you look at this, this is not the mark of a successful creator. You can see $145, $1,300, barely even 10, 15% funded. It sucked. There was a lot of failure. I almost gave up, but then I found the trick to turn it around. Trick that turned me from launching to crickets to this, where we sold out. This is us at Comic-Con 2015. If you'll notice, this book is the same as that book. Now selling out. Succeeding, funding, more and more and more, getting my books into stores. I mean, I'm just one person, but our stores are all over books are all over Southern California. Look, I'm not a genius, not a special snowflake, but what changed for me is that I learned the secret to making a living as a creator, which is, I assume, is what we're all here to talk about. That it's all about the fan base. If you have a rabid fan base, then you have a business. Now, my first question is, how many of you guys know your ideal customer? And I mean, really, really know them. You know, what I usually hear from people is they say, when I ask them who their ideal customer is, they say, oh, you know, it's a woman or maybe a man who's between like 18 and 49 or maybe 70 and they like hot dogs. I say that's not nearly enough. Like, that does not represent one human. That represents a whole group of humans. So the first thing that you need to do is get really, really, really specific on the type of person who is going to like your work. So here are some of the things that we talk about as wannabe press creators. We don't deal with necessarily the demographics, but the psychographics, like what really makes them tick. So like rebellious, creative, artistic, practical, sarcastic, macabre, the kind of people that snuck out of their house to go to punk clubs back when they were in high school, and really like anti-authority. And you can see that this little b is supposed to be the representation of all of these sort of qualities. And this is the person that we're speaking to. If you like the bee, especially because one of our biggest fandoms is Invader Zim, and generally animation and all. If you like this bee, you probably represent these people, and then you're going to like our work. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I know you're like, well, how does this relate to the social media and dominating on social media? Well, it's all about finding these people and getting very specific so that you can grow and scale. We're going to talk. This is what we're going to talk about today: how you can know your customers better than they know themselves, how you can deliver an experience they will love, so they follow you and tell everyone they know to follow you as well. So they become raving fans, eagerly gobble up everything you do, because that's really the end goal of social media, right? Like, it's great to have 1 million followers, but what good is it if you're broke as a joke at the end of the day? Before I move on, just want to make sure there's no other questions here. Awesome. No other questions. If you have questions, put it in here. It's going to look crazy over here, but I will do as best I can to answer these questions. All right. And I'm going to stop every once in a while just to see if there's any questions. I just ask you make it relevant to what we talked about in the next section. So first things first. Really, the first thing that you need to know is we need to talk about the sales funnel. The sales funnel, I know there's the word sales in it, but it's really the process of taking somebody who doesn't know you and making them know, like, trust, and then buy from you. So over here, these are human beings who've never heard about you. Then we put them inside of your sales funnel. Maybe they follow you on social media or they hear about you, but they know who you are. They seek you out on social media. They like you. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they buy from you. And if you notice, this funnel is like an inverted triangle, and it means that because in every section, there's less and less people. So not everyone who follows you is going to end up buying from you. And so we need to put a lot of people at the top here to find the people at the bottom. And then we need to optimize each piece of this funnel so that it really starts to resonate with people so that they know what they're going to get. Most people think that they want to be something to everyone, but because there's 7 billion people in this world, that paradigm kind of got flipped on its head. And now we really want to be everything to a few people or a very select people, because that's how you're going to stand out. So the best way I visualize this is by saying, we all have that cousin we know but don't like, that uncle we like but don't trust, that friend that we trust, but like they just don't have the same taste, you know, like, you give them $20 for pizza. You like pineapple. They bring back anchovies. You know, they go back. They get tickets to some concert or some comedian you don't like. You just like, so you like them, trust them. They're good people, but like their taste is not your taste. But then we all have that best friend down here that if you give them $20, they're going to deliver something awesome. It's going to be something that you grok out to. And that's what we want. That's what we're trying to do down here. We're trying to find the people that grok out to the things that you are grokking out to. So this word sales always trips people up, especially creators. So I have a couple of questions that I ask people. So to kind of get you out of the marketing, to like kind of break you out of this like sales is bad, money is bad paradigm, there's only 2 questions. The first is, are you a good person? Even a little bit. Like, will you break for a duck if it crosses the street? Like, you don't have to be the greatest person in the world, just like generally good. You want the best generally of at least the people that you love. And second, do you think the book or product or whatever you're making can change lives? And again, I don't mean like the drilling an oil well in Zimbabwe or sorry, drilling a water well in Zimbabwe or something. I mean, like, can you make a minor change, a minor positive change, even if that is making them understand that and become more comfortable or forgetting the time that they live in just to like get lost in what you're making, even if it's for a split second. And now when I get past the snarkiness of people saying no or like and get really drilled down to it, almost everyone I've ever talked to has said yes and yes. I would bet that you will say yes and yes too if you really thought about it. And if that is the case, if it's a yes and a yes, then you are morally obligated to tell as many people as possible about your work, to spread your message to as many people as possible so that you can change as many lives as humanly possible. And that really changed a whole lot for me over the years, this whole like the moral obligation of trying to change as many lives with my work. Really changed things from like it being about the sales to being about the size of the audience, and then money became the sort of afterthought or the residual from running my business the right way. So this is the most important concept that I have to tell you about before we even get started. Social media only works if you do it. In fact, all marketing only works if you do it. So if you hate it, if you fight against it, either that might not be the marketing that works for you. Not all marketing works for every person. And B, you're not going to do it. And there are a lot of best practices. And the things I'm going to show you are certainly like in the realm of best practice, but they're going to be things that you can actually do. And my goal is to make you actually do this stuff. Because there's a quote that I heard. My wife is big into like zero waste and recycling and all of this stuff, and she's gotten me into it. And I heard a quote that says, we don't need 100 people doing zero waste perfectly. We need 1 million people doing zero waste imperfectly. And I feel the same thing about marketing. We don't need 100 people doing marketing perfectly. We need 1 million people doing it imperfectly. And it's by doing it imperfectly that we'll find what works for you, the strategies that work for you, and how to implement them in your own business. So before I get started with step one, I'm just going to take a step back here and make sure we don't have so this says, Tom says, if you have, say, 10 to 20 raving fans, will this advice help build upon them? Dude, if you have 10 to 20 raving fans, yes. In fact, you should probably be in my Build a Rabid fan base course, because that will, that's how you move from, it literally shows you step by step how to move from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 raving fans and sort of like expand that. So you're going to be already on like stage 2 or 3. And okay.
I think Englishman is saying if you click like present on that.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Slideshow from the current slide. There we go. This better? This looks probably
perfect. Yeah, perfect.
All right. So step 1 is to learn about your ideal customer. I call this the hot topic Abercrombie paradigm. So here's the thing. Everyone is a brand, including your mother, your dog, and branding is what someone associates you with. So like if your mom likes cooking, if your mom likes knitting, if your mom likes windsurfing, if your mom has been talking about like going to Spain and living in Spain for the past 40 years, like all of that stuff is associated with their brand. And the idea of quote unquote brand is very, it's not the most positively connotated concept in the world, but really what we're talking about is what somebody associates you with. And so what I want to get across on this section is we have to find out what your brand represents and who your brand is going to be looking for as a customer. or as someone who's just following your channel, or someone who you're building for. Like, what is your brand giving off? Like what sort of things are you giving off, or your company giving off? And then what kind of person you attracting with that? So this is Abercrombie. Abercrombie was a big company when I was growing up. I don't know if it's still popular, but it certainly is in the public zeitgeist of my universe. And so this is Abercrombie, and this is Hot Topic. I'm going to skip back and forth between these two. So Abercrombie, Hot Topic. So what do you notice about these two brands? First, they both make clothes, clearly, like clothes for women, clearly, tops and bottoms, clearly. But if you look at sort of this clean line, this used to be the preppy brand when I was in high school. Like all like the 90210, like richer kids, like the preppy kids, the football players generally were like all in this Abercrombie mindset. And I fell more into this Hot Topic mindset, which is for more like the punks and the goths and the like the more sort of out of the mainstream humans. But again, they both make clothes. Both of these make clothes. And if you look at their brand now of their stores, you can see just how different these stores are. They are attracting a much different person. And a Hot Topic versus Abercrombie is like night and day. And what they're looking for are two things. They are designing their company and all of their logo and all of their branding to find the person who costs the least to acquire. That means the least amount of money to get them interested in your brand, and who spends the most, the longest, the highest customer lifetime value. So while people might sometimes shop at Abercrombie and sometimes shop at Hot Topic, these are targeted to the person who is going to be with them the longest and resonate with them the quickest. So these are just two companies. I'm going to bring it down. The thing I do is books, so I'm going to show you how to do this with books. So these are two books. These are two of my dear friends' books. Both are romance, but they are absolutely 100% different books. So if you were looking for a historical romance sort of set on like a farm, like with a lot of whimsy, you would pick up my friend Deborah Holland's book. But if you were looking for sort of a more fast-paced urban fantasy, like romantic comedy book, like you'd clearly be looking over here for my friend's books. Now, does it mean, again, that someone doesn't read both? No. What it means, though, is I know what I'm going to get inside of this book when I buy it. I know what I'm going to get inside of this book. And if I'm in an R.J. Blaine mood, I'm going to pick up this book. If I'm in the Deborah Holland mood, I'm going to pick up this book. But I know exactly what I'm going to get each time. And if you can sort of have this idea of sort of the person you're going to attract, is it more this person or a whole different person? If you know their sort of the qualities that they look for, the places that they go to, then you're going to be able to design your whole social media platform, your whole experience around that kind of person. And if you do a whole bunch of different, so this is why it's hard to have sort of different, to write both of these kind of books, because you're now splitting your time, energy, effort, your social media presence time, the amount of time you have to devote to both of these brands. And you are now having to do this twice. So it's a lot more powerful if you can put this all into one package and choose either this brand, or whatever your brand is, and just double, triple, quadruple down on it. So good brands attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. So if I'm not in the mood for this kind of book, I don't want you to buy it, because you're going to have a bad experience with this book. You're going to probably leave a negative review. I want you to not buy it, because a magnet does two things. It attracts the right people and it repels the wrong ones. So how do you learn what people really like about your brand? Well, you ask them. So if you have 10 to 20 raving fans like Tom talked about, or you have none, you need to go into your existing network and find people that know you but not enough to lie to you. And the best way I can explain this is I'm almost 20 years from my high school reunion, and there are people that I've just been friends with on social media for almost the entire time since then, since I was in school. And some of them have been like, we weren't close in high school. Why are we together? Like, why are you still hanging out with me? But they are replying to all the right posts. And when I say the right posts, I mean, look, if you're going to make knitting crochet patterns, it doesn't matter if someone is responding to your cat photos. You want to look for someone who's commenting on your knitting patterns and comments. And everyone who starts a business is going to start talking about that kind of business. And so just by definition, you're going to sort of have people that are resonating with it or talking with you about it or in that community already. And then those are the people you want to interview. You want to find out the brands that they like, the forums that they're in, and most importantly, what they like about you. Is it because you are like energetic? Is it because you're positive? Is it because you're real? Is it because you're elegant? Are you aspirational, inspirational, practical? Like, what kinds of things really resonate with them about what you do? And then also, like, what qualities do they have? Like, are they rebellious? Are they more erudite? Are they pragmatic? Like, what makes them tick? And then you need to use that as a basis to find more people like them. So 9, 10, I usually like to say 10 people like them at the beginning, because it gives you a base to see where the commonalities are. This is going to tell you two things. It's going to tell you what kind of person resonates with the message that you have. And it's going to tell you if the message that you have is the message that you want to convey. Because if you want to be seen as an elegant person, but you fumble over your words and you're much more like real and down to earth, well, that's going to be a problem when you go to build your brand. If they see you as this sort of like rebellious person, you're probably not going to get that far writing sweet romance books, for instance. All right, so that's step one. Before I go to step two, I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to just look here. All right, do you feel certain marketing channels or approaches work specifically for comics, such as marketing direct from Patreon? You're going to have to. This is not the time to ask that question. Hopefully, I have time for it at the end, though. All right, so I'm going to from the current slide. All right, now you've got your humans. You know the kind of person that you like. You know what resonates with your brand. You know the brands that are really exciting to like the people that are your fans. And so we're gonna go to step two, which is meet your fans where they are, or the Neil Gaiman parallel. So if you don't know Neil Gaiman, he's a very successful comic creator and a very successful novelist. He's a showrunner of the Good Omens series. He wrote some of my favorite books of all time. And he's also one that the people that like my work tend to resonate with a lot. So just like I did at the very beginning, here are a couple of Neil Gaiman's most popular channels. You can see he's got 1 million people on Facebook that follow him, 2.8 million on Twitter, and a little over 600,000 on Instagram. So just from these three places, you can see kind of where he's strongest. Like, he's clearly strongest on Twitter, and he's pretty good on Facebook. I'm not sure if I would look through his Instagram account. I probably would, and so you can sort of do an audit just by these three ones. You can add Pinterest if you really love Pinterest or somewhere else, but you can see like the kinds of things that Neil Gaiman posts, the kinds of things that get the best reaction Neil Gaiman posts. And you can follow Neil Gaiman and make sure that you're being a curator of stuff for him in case people in your audience are not also following Neil Gaiman. And then, most importantly, once you have this, you can use one of my favorite programs, which is Facebook Audience Insights. And you can look, actually, if you don't have Facebook Audience Insights, you need to go to business.facebook.com, create a business account. You do not need to run ads, but once you have that account, you will have access to Facebook Audience Insights. It used to be very easy to find Facebook Audience Insights. Now the easiest way is just to type Facebook Audience Insights into Google and then follow how to get there from there. But you can see here, you can get the demographics, page likes, location, activity for Neil Gaiman or anywhere. You can do multiple at the same time and sort of bunch them and see where the demographic data is of like who you should be searching for and who you should be planning for. Also, my favorite part of this is if you go to the page likes, click right there and scroll down, you see the other things that are very highly associated with Neil Gaiman. So you look at all of these things and you might find other targets and other things that your initial search didn't find. So clearly Terry Pratchett would be a huge influence with Neil Gaiman because they wrote Good Omens together and they kind of were locked for a long time in their work. American Gods is a great one, the TV show and the novel. And so you will find all of this cool information. And then here's my biggest social media rule. This is not my biggest marketing rule. My biggest social media rule is pick one platform, one you already use, one you already like, one you already know the in and outs of, one you already spend an inordinate amount of time on, and one you already know the big players for. This is because if you split your time, if you split all the platforms, you're going to have to spend time in each one. And there are already people in each platform who are using it enough to dominate at it. You can dominate in any of the platforms that exist and become a big player or become at least a player that matters on any platform. But if you want to do this in an hour and you want to do this easily and quickly, then you're going to have to sort of pick and focus. And I would much rather put 100% of focus on one platform and really be able to push through than on 10 different platforms. And so usually the one you already use, like, and know is going to be the one that is your favorite. And then you already know all of the rules. For instance, my favorite is Facebook because one of my favorite things to do is join a bunch of groups and pages and then curate content for my audience by pulling out stuff I think they will like and then sharing it with them. I love doing that, and it's very easy, and so I don't have to spend a lot of time doing it, and the stuff already appears in my feed, and all I have to do then is share it to my own feed. So that's step 2. Let's see. I'm going to go out here again, and we'll see if there's any other questions. Awesome. Looks like no questions. Remember, if you have questions, let me know. I'm hoping to get through all of this pretty quickly and then have plenty of time for questions. All right. So third, so now you know your platform, you know your person, and now it's time to deliver consistent quality. So how do you deliver consistent quality? The 3 main ones that people talk about are blogs, vlogs, and podcasts. Pick one. And if you don't have a lot of other stuff going on, then one of those 3, depending on which one you love the most, is going to be the easiest. Blogs are kind of the hardest to get going right now just because there's so many blogs. Vlogs are kind of the easiest to get going, but they take the most effort. But that's why you get a little more traction because there's less people who are doing vlogs well. Podcasts, I mean, I have a podcast called The Complete Creative. I think that it's great. You want something that comes out weekly. And I try to have a blog and a podcast for my site, The Complete Creative. But something that people don't talk about is if you have just consistent launches, if you're launching a comic book, let's say every 3 months, or a book every month, then that could be your consistent quality. It doesn't have to be one of these other things. I've got plenty of friends who launch books every 2 to 4 weeks, and that is their launch. But most of my friends don't launch enough for that to be the consistent thing that keeps people at the top of your mind, at the top of their mind. So you want a way to reach them often. So for my Wannabe Press site, I don't do blogging or vlogging or podcasting. Instead, what I do is I have launches, and then I have a mailing list, and I send a mailing list weekly to people on my list that has a whole bunch of different things on it. And one of my favorite ways of keeping things consistent is, I've been talking about it a lot, but to become a curator. Share other authors and creators you respect, joining groups where your audience hides out, finding pages you think will excite your audience, and sharing things with them. They are going, if you can do that, even if you don't have a product, if you can do that, they're going to see that your taste is good, and they are going to trust you more and more and more. My friend David Pepos wrote reviews for 10 years for websites, for comic reviews. And so when he started doing his comics, he had a big fan base that trusted him and trusted his taste and he was able to turn that into a really successful launch for Spencer and Locke. So just becoming a curator before you even have stuff, and showing your audience and being able to make your social media platform a place that people go, or the place that people enjoy, or a place that people consistently stop, is going to be your consistent quality. Even if you don't have a blog or a vlog or a podcast, just picking things to share with people that are good, that like you enjoy and that you think they will enjoy, is going to help. So this is one of the biggest questions I ask at this point about delivering consistent quality, which is what to say when you have nothing to say. Now, I think we all have stuff to say all of the time, but here are some of my best options. When I started, I did a thing called 5 Cool Things. It was just literally 5 things I found on the internet. It could be articles, it could be Kickstarters, it could be free books, it could be Twitter posts. Whatever it was just 5 cool things that I thought they would enjoy. From there, I found that when I posted about free books, people had the best positive experience. So I created something called the Freebs, which is something I do once a quarter. I used to do it once a month, where I just found a bunch of free books on the internet and I dispersed it to my readership. They loved that. Another one is my faves. It's just a list of the 3 to 5 favorite books, recipes, trips, whatever that I took that year, or in a specific amount of time. It could have been a quarter. Usually it's about 6 months. I try to save up until I have 5 books that I read that I really love, and then I'll do a faves one. Lessons. This is kind of like a ray of hope. So it's like a lesson that I learned that I think could be universally applied to somebody else. So I'll take something specific to me, and then I will bring it out to the group, like what I think that everyone can take away from it. The lead up to launch, if you're launching something, for about 4 weeks before I launch, I have kind of the same playbook. I announce it, I show a cover, I ask people for help to make sure that the page is right, et cetera, once every week. So that's 4 weeks right there. And then launching is also like its own series of emails. What I'm doing now in backstory are kind of tales from my own life to show that I'm human. So it could be like a trip that I'm taking. It could be the backstory of a book or a project or a character. Could be stories from my own past. But there's all sorts of things that you can do, and you can then mix and match all of these things together. If you and when I don't have any options, or when I'm bereft of ideas, I then return back to this list and I will pick one and say, yes, I can talk about that, or I can talk about depression or anxiety or troubles or COVID or whatever that thing is. All right, so before I go on to the second to last step. All right, so this is relevant, but would you advocate automatic sharing from one platform to another? I don't, unless I'm doing a launch and I need to actually have that I need to have extra things. You're always going to be deducted, and your reach is going to be reduced when you share from one platform to another, when you share from Buffer or Hootsuite or Postplan or anything like that. It is a very effective way to get on multiple platforms, but any platform that is in your core readership, you want to post natively because you're just going to get a better reach there. But for the sake of like having this be easy, sure, you can do that. And you can post from Instagram to Facebook without any reach because they're owned by the same with any loss of reach because they're owned by the same company. Tom says, I feel as though most of my fans are actually supporters who like me, whether they like the product or not, and that is disheartening. How do you move past that? The only mom buys your book thing. I mean, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna say like you need to make books that people love, and like if you make books that people love, then like they will get the book, read it, and you will move past the supporters who like me to like actual fans and who like your work. And so if you don't feel that you have that, either you're not curating them from the places of people who do like you, and you need to go out and do that, or you need to put out more work so that people can see what kind of creator you are. and sort of announce your authority to the world. But people will always buy from you first because of you. Even now, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. You're going to have 10% of people who are going to like you and buy from you. And then hopefully those people will convert into actually fans of your work. But part of this is like putting a lot of people at the top of that chipper shredder. Like you need to put a lot of people at the top of that that social media sales funnel. Otherwise, you're not going to get enough people at the bottom to like become real fans of yours. And so if you have sort of the sales funnel set up properly, then you can keep putting new people at the top of your sales funnel, and new buyers will follow at the bottom. And then over time, it will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. But I don't know, man. I mean, you're a pretty successful writer. I have a hard time believing that you don't have fans who like your work more than they just like you. I think you just haven't found them yet, or found a way to like curate them into a place that you have access to them. All right. Step 4, grow your audience. All right. So the real secret to this sales funnel is not getting people to buy from you. It's really getting people to buy again from you. You can trick anybody one time to buying something based on a cool marketing pitch, but you can't get people to keep buying from you unless they really like your work. So your goal is not just to get someone to buy, but to get someone to buy over and over and over and over again. And that each time you launch, you have more people who are ready to buy from you. So maybe the first time it's 5 people who are ready to buy your second product. And then by the 5th time, it's 100. And then by the 10th time, it's 1,000. And so over time, this sort of group of people who are going to buy your stuff mindlessly, and I don't mean dumbly, I mean, they know it's going to be awesome, so they'll just click yes, is going to grow. And as those people at the bottom keep clicking yes, if you're finding more people to put at the top, then you're going to have 400, 500 people, 1,000 people, 100 people, whatever it is at the bottom, who are going to click yes immediately. And then every new person you get, you can hope that of every 2, 1 person is going to make it to the bottom, become that same, and become a fan, just like the other fans. And so you're now growing that pool. And how you really, really, really make a career of doing this is that the people who will buy from you again keeps going up. And you do that by the people who buy from you one time going up and then enjoying it. And some of them trickling down into the very much smaller, I'm going to buy anything this guy does all the time. And that is really the function of how your business grows, because those are the people who are going to not just buy from you, they're going to share, they're going to bring other people into your company and into your universe. And once you can sort of get that like word of mouth spreading, that's how you're going to get more people to grow your social media channel. I know we're talking about customers buying from you, but growing your social media channel is the same thing. Once you have these people who consume every podcast, who consume every YouTube channel post, every blog post, then those are the people that are going to become better, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is how you really are going to grow for the long term. That's how you can go from the social media channel to the books or to the makeup line launch or whatever the other thing is, because the people down here are ready to consume anything that you want, that you feed them, because they like you so much. So this is set up for comic creators and novelists, but the same function is true for anybody. The best ways to grow your audience. The best ways to grow your audience are through newsletter swaps and barter marketing, which is you find someone who does something you really like, and you ask them to share your thing, and they're going to share their thing, your thing. And if you're both at the same size and you both do a similar thing, then you both get the advantage of getting a few more fans each time. Book Funnel, Prolific Works, Story Origin, Booksprout are ways to join promotions with bunches of other creators. So I'm talking about 20, 30, 40, 50 other creators, all of them with rather small audiences. But even if 50 people have a small audience and you get 2 from each one, that's 100 new people. Giveaways, great way to do giveaways is to find a brand that is way more popular than you. Like, let's say you write epic fantasy and Lord of the Rings is something that your fans really like. If you do a big Lord of the Rings a builder or a giveaway, you can find the people that will sign up for that giveaway are then going to be people who are very likely to like your books. Creating pods of creators to work together. Finding influencers in your genre, like Bookstagram, if you're a book person, and trying to get them to like talk about your book, and maybe in exchange for them, you talking about their book or something else, or maybe paying them, or it depends on the influencer and what they do. Inviting people who like posts to like your page. If you're on Facebook, that's very nebulous whether people say it's positive or negative or neutral. I do it, so I'm going to say for other people to do it as well. And then finally, paid newsletter sites and advertising. So there are places, even if you have no audience, that you can pay. Places like the ones I listed below, Ryan Z, Author XP. There's some others that you literally can like join a bunch of other creators and they'll get maybe 600 emails altogether. And then they disperse it to the people who joined the, who were sponsors of the giveaway or sponsors of whatever the promotion that they're running. So there's all sorts of ways. I want to make sure like most of these ways are free. What they require is you to network with a bunch of other creators who are all doing the same thing as you and move forward together. Because if you have 50 people listening to your podcast and 20 other people do, but you can all find the people that like this sort of group of podcasts, this kind of whatever podcast you're making, business or whatever it is, you can then hopefully out of those 50 find 1,000 people that'll like your show, 900 new people that'll like your show. The thing that I want you to do, the thing that is really helpful for dominating on social media is you plant your flag. Like your brand is a flag and you plant it in the groups, in the places that you know people are going to congregate that like your work. And you then join those communities, join those groups and integrate with them. And you keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again. And all the time. And it takes a lot of time at the beginning, but as you start getting better at whittling and whittling and whittling and whittling it down, you will know which groups to join and how to do it effectively. Oops. So for instance, like the 15,000 people that like my Facebook page come from over 200,000 connections, 150,000 shows, adminning groups, speaking engagements, advertising, and a whole lot more done over time, but not done like 100 hours a week. We're talking about like 1 hour a week here, 2 hours a week there, and making things that stack on top of each other. So for instance, a show and my podcast and my speaking engagements, the social media bump that I get out of that is ancillary. It's not even the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the speaking engagement, or I'm doing it for the money that I make at the shows. Then the social media engagement that I get is an ancillary part, but it does all add up over time. The final thing before we get to stage 4 is that you must love it. You need to love the thing you're selling and the brand you're building 100% because people will know if you do and if you don't. 10% of my sales come from enthusiasm alone, but 80% come from the enthusiasm of me and my fans. It's the fans that drive the growth of your business and your social media accounts, and people want to be around people that magnetize the right thing to them and that they can tell love the work that they're doing. All right, step 5, monetize. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because there's so many options, but I'm going to make sure there's no other questions. All right, we're nearing the end. We've got less than 15 minutes. If you've got questions, share them, get them in now. Step 5, monetize. Look, there's a million ways to monetize. And I really, when I usually do this presentation, I don't even talk a lot about monetization or monetization at all. but people always ask about it. So I'm going to show you the two most popular ways to monitor, the two most popular questions that I get. How do I monetize if I don't have a product? And how do I monetize if I only have a few products? So if you don't have a product, affiliate another product, BackerKit, Amazon, somebody else's, like some products, some other work. It doesn't matter. There's all sorts of ways to affiliate a product, especially if you were curating for a group of people and you find a product that is good. If you show it to them, some of them will buy it. A lot of them will buy it if it's big enough. Find cool things for your audience on eBay or at yard sales and resell it to your audience. If you have a big audience, you can sell access to your audience itself. If you only have a few products, then you can build bundles with other creators. If you have one book and you can find 20 other creators who all are in your same genre and put it together in an anthology or build a bundle on like Bundle Rabbit or some other company that you can put them all together, then suddenly you can sell, you only have one book, but you can sell 20 books for $2.99 and get a piece of that. Groupies is another one that I use where I put one book in and other people put a bunch of books in. You're not going to make a ton of money here, but like I make $100 here, $200 here, $1,000 here being in an anthology. If you can even curate an anthology and you're an author, then you're going to have an even bigger upside because now you're getting paid as the publisher and as the editor and as one of the creators. And then finally, if you have one product, it's important to find upsell possibilities. So like selling original art, if you have comics, selling bundles of the same books to libraries or to schools or somewhere, selling services like doing your art or something like that, or selling your marketing services or selling speaking engagements or like whatever you can do. But it's possible to make money if you only have a few products. It's even more possible to make money if you can give one of those products away and then make money on like on selling, 3 or 4 other products that come along with that in like a big bundle. Because you don't have to build bundles in the same genre. So like you could have a book and then soap, and then I've done this before where like let's say it's for a romance pack, and like there's a couple of books, there's some bath bomb soaps, there's some shampoo, there's some like chocolate, and it was like a pack that had some books in it, but also a bunch of other products that like would be of interest to somebody who liked romance or fantasy or whatever the other thing is. And once you're doing that, then it's just time to rinse and repeat again and again and again and again. And that's how you grow. You plant, you have your social media following, and then people are growing, and then you keep doing the same thing, and it sort of grows organically over time and grows because of all the actions that you're taking outside of it. So I want to show you all of the things that we talked about. I want to show you my social media account, my Facebook account, the only one that I think you should really look for. For myself. So this is my social media account. We talked about like rebellious, creative, artistic. A lot of people ask me like, I don't want to be front and center. I don't want to always be talking about me. And I'm like, great. I don't talk about me hardly ever. So you can see I share comics. I share some stuff about me. I just shared this thing a dragon once told me, and it has over 170 comments, just people using predictive text. Comics that I'm doing, try to get past this because the past couple of days have been here's a Army of Darkness meme. So it's not about like always sharing about you. It's about sharing things that you think your audience are going to dig. Bringing on creators that the audience thinks are going to dig, working with creators that they think that you think your audience is going to dig, doing promotions with with people like that, and all of these things then are how you go into dominating social media, and also getting fans who are going to become fans of your work and like actually buy your work. Which again, I'm not saying that I have the most amazing social media accounts as far as the amount of people who are following me. But I am saying that I make a lot of money on my social media accounts, and like either first degree or second degree money from how I curate them and how it works with the whole of my brand. All right, so there's 9 minutes left. see if I can see what is going on here. I just calibrated this at the beginning of this thing, and it's now. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. Talked about that one. I talked about automatic sharing. If you are going to automatic share, I recommend Post Planner. Post Planner is $39 a year instead of like $20 a month. So that's I literally use it only when I am launching a product, only when I'm launching like a book or something. And it's great. It's great for like that particular process. Is enthusiasm for 100%? Oh, thanks, Stoney. I need advice on how to get your online comic reviewers to review your book. Yeah, I do. It's actually pretty easy. Find books that are like yours. Type in that book plus review. Search out the sites that like review the book, and then contact those sites and tell them, hey, I really enjoyed your review of this. I have a book that's similar to that, and da 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 da. This is why you should review it. I would love it if you did so. Don't just blast them on social media. But send a nice professional email about with all of the information they would need to make a decision, but not your book, not your press kit. You know, it could be an announcement. It could be something, a Kickstarter that you have coming up. You also want to make sure to do that 3 months before you are actually going to have your book go live. Are there any good communities or platforms outside of the big ones, Twitter, Insta, and Facebook, that you recommend? So it's just really going to depend on the places that you like hanging out. Like I sometimes have good traction on Pinterest. I don't follow a lot of the new ones like TikTok or things like that. Like what's more important for me is things that I have fun doing and places that I have fun being. And that's the most important thing for me. So you should look at whether TikTok or Schmick Schmock or Bing Bong or whatever the show is, the social media account is, and see if it's something that you feel comfortable. And if it is, then like pursue that. And if not, then maybe don't. Yes. So Stoney says, someone who's reviewed comic books for years before writing them myself, just ask, approach reviewers, email, DM. Yeah, they're not like remember, it's much like agents and other things. Like I know it is scary, but the thing that keeps review sites going are books to review. Like cool books, like finding the new cool book is like how they get scoops. That's like how review sites keep their readerships, because they're going to find the cool, obscure books. Like I don't know any reviewer who doesn't want to find the new cool book. I don't know one who's going to do that. How in the world do you do this all in 1 hour a week? You don't. As I mentioned at the beginning, it takes a long time to set all this up. But once you get it set up, then you can continue it at like an hour a week, because it becomes a part of your business, not the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, the things that I shared with you today are how to make a business function. Like I couched it in how to do social media, but they are how to make your business function. If you do all of those things, you will learn how to make an actual business function that it will be successful for you. And then finally, if you have any other questions, now is the time to ask. How do you go about starting a newsletter? MailChimp is a good one. It's free for the first 2,000 subscribers, and you just like the only good marketing is what you do. So like you start a newsletter by starting a newsletter, asking people to join it, and then having people join it, and then asking them what they want. But you need to find who your people are. You need to do step 1 to 4 or step 1 to 3, and at least know what you're going to be sharing on a weekly basis, who your people are, where they hang out, and how you're going to get them into your environment. Without those things, like you're not, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So, but you still need, so first says, I only have 300 followers. I mean, you need to do these steps that we're talking about. You need to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, you need to follow these steps and then actually implement them. But if you have 300 followers, you can at least start in finding who they are and what they're about and why they respond to you. But yeah, you need a really good grasp of who you are attracting and who you are trying to get people excited, what kind of person you're trying to get excited for your work. If you can get that piece figured out, then, and you can actually get people excited about like the thing that you're sharing, then it becomes easy. Then people are going to, then when people come to your thing, they're more likely to follow you. They're more likely to like share your stuff. And then you start getting organic traffic, and then you can start building from there. But I have built social media accounts for hundreds of authors, and it's always really the same. Before we can go and do Facebook ads or Twitter ads or like do these big influencer marketing campaigns, like you have to know who you're attracting. Otherwise, you will have an account that doesn't attract those people or make them follow, and it doesn't keep them entertained when you do have them. Awesome. So I think that's it. We did it all.
Russell, man, that was amazing. I need to like take notes and just be ready. You know, I need to copy this down. And for those that want to go back over and review this, obviously it's going to be here on the White Whale Comics YouTube channel. You can rewatch and go back over this with a fine-toothed comb. I've dropped the link to Russell's website, which is right there, right under his picture, if you notice. So if you didn't get to click on the link, you can scroll back up or just write that down, type it in, and go check it out. Huge thanks to you for doing this, Russell.
Absolutely. There was one more question. Do you recommend literally making phone calls, sending emails to talk to those people who like you? Yes. Like one-on-one communication, just like me and John are doing right now. Like you want to sit down, you want to make a phone, you want to probably message them on Facebook and then like schedule a time to call them. I would not just call them and say, hey, do you have 2 hours to like talk to me about this thing? Like ask them first and then like sort of build the relationship from there.
Awesome.
And I will be here at 3 o'clock, right? 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern in Hall C for the Kickstarter panel with Ryland Grant, David Pepos, David Avalone, and Immortal Studios, I believe.
Yeah.
Those 4.
So that's a perfect segue. So I'm going to say goodbye to Russell. Take it easy, buddy. And yeah, if you guys go over to mainframecomiccon.com, you can find all the links to all the other halls and all the other events that are going on. It's good to check in and check it out, see what's going on over there. And like Russell just said, he's heading on his way over there to Hall C, I believe, or maybe B. But you go on the website, the schedule is all there, mainframecomiccon.com. Most importantly for me is you can donate to the Hero Initiative. This is all free to you, the fans, because of the Hero Initiative. So going over there, clicking the button and donating a little supports those artists and creators, whether they're going through health issues or financial issues. This is an incredible charity that has made this entire event possible. So all the great content that you're enjoying is thanks to the Hero Initiative and their continued hard work. But I can't spend too much time on the charity because this place is about to get lit up. I'm telling you right now, one of my all-time favorite ladies is about to just tear up this joint. If you guys don't know, the fabulous Christy Shin, she is about to invade this space. And let's just bring her in here. Christy, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm doing good. It's hot as fuck here, but whatever.
I feel like it is not a con if I don't see you and hear your voice.
That's good to hear. I mean, at least you know that I'm probably going to be destroying something or another, like people's expectations of me.
So
And they don't expect.
I'm going to drop the link to her website here. I've got it all loaded up. Shinstudio.com. Christy, you want to give everybody a little quick heads up into who you are and what you make?
Well, first of all, it's horrortourstudios.com, and I make all sorts of terrible things. And I will just go. Let me actually pop that up there. Sorry, I'm just like all. I know I've got a lot of stupid shit on the internet, so hey, you know.
HorrorTourstudios.com.
Yes, and that has my stuff. And I just did one called "I Told You So," because I must be psychic or some shit. So what it was is I decided to make a bunch of demon bitch fortune telling cards, the shitty tarot, and I just got the delivery of like about a week or two ago, and I'm just about done fulfilling all the Kickstarter orders. I think I have one more, but that's one of my artists because she ordered other stuff. So what it is, it's like a pack of trading cards. Well, not trading cards, but fortune telling cards, and they're available now on my website, and I ship worldwide. And it is from this character Demon Bitch. And let me show you, like we have Zoralita right here and everything and all that. These are really good cards, and it'll come with an instruction booklet and everything telling you what each card is and what it does. And they're based off a trilogy of books. Now people go like, oh, what's the trilogy of books? Well, here we go. We have the first one is Hell and Fire and Damnation. This is the premiere of Demon Bitch, and she sucks. And then I have Alcoholics and Anonymous, which is like water for chocolate except a pile of shit. Anyway, yeah, so these have that, and it's done really well. And it's based on girls that I fucking hated. Oh, thank you, Simon. I appreciate it. What'd you get? Let us know. So what it is that what ended up happening was that I just hated a bunch of girls because they were mean to me and all these other people, and they were just stupid pieces of shit. So I started making fun of them in this book. So they're based on all these girls that I hate, and people really like it. Actually, they're like, "Oh, dude, that's my ex." Some people go like,
"It's a great like outlet for aggression. It's a non-violent outlet for frustration."
Oh yeah, like I even saw one dumb bitch. Let's see, I have mine right here because I touched it and everything. Although it's Demon Bitch, so it's probably filthy anyway. But anyway, so I also did this thing. Now one of my artists called it a cum rag, so it's really called the Dusty Face Mask. And in the middle, you know, I actually saw somebody say this. It's like someone should take DMT and talk to the coronavirus. And I'm like, wow, if my opinion wasn't like up there about you, now you're just even lower. But, in this day and age, because of COVID and how crazy it is, it's like a face mask, right? So you're not totally out of shit. And now like they've been going back and forth, like, what masks are good and what aren't, and they're like, oh, N95, oh, the valves suck, oh, you can't have this. So I'm just like, fuck it, just take this, put it around your fucking face, and then there you go. And what you can also do is if somebody pisses you off, you can stuff it down their throat. It's long enough so you can pull it out so they don't choke and you get a murder charge. Not like that happened to me, but yeah. So yes, but it's a very absorbent one. I actually tested this one out. I always test out all the products that I make. So the book, the dirtier and nastier it is, the more valuable it is, I assure you. So when you take that shit in to get graded, chances are, like, if they say, well, it's a 1 because it's just got filth on it, I'm sure you could sell it out to pay off your house mortgage. So that you go eventually. Yeah, there's my
oh man, I love you, Christy. You're amazing. Now, if you haven't seen Christy before, firstly, you should be subbing up to a lot of different things, including Kevin over at 1-2 Comic Talk. I feel like you and Kevin are a phenomenal pair, and that's how I first came across you. And then, of course, Mainframe Comic Con 101 After Dark, we hung out a bunch. So, what are you working on right now? What's going on in the Christy Shin world these days?
Well, right now I'm actually going back to drawing some like just an old comic that I've actually shelved for a while. I will say this, during the pandemic, sometimes like it's kind of hard to keep inspired and all that. And yeah, there's a lot of really weird twisted things. And I've actually started to make a book, kind of the Plague Diaries or something. So just all these random fucking drawings and how they evolved to something else. Like for a while I'll draw these dribbly fucking things and these weird flesh things. And then I'll go to these like really fucked up, you probably saw the cartoons that I put up on Instagram and shit, like just of like the current political situation. And it's funny because like there are people that genuinely ask, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then there are people that go like, oh my God, like, what are you trying to say? Can you unpack this for me? Because I get really angry and it's really funny. And some people are like, what side are you on? I can't believe what side you're on and shit. And like, I don't know. I just drew it because it was funny. You guys can just like it or not. Fuck you. So it's like, there's a lot of that. And I just draw a fuck ton of coronaviruses everywhere because, hey, we need a laugh. And,
Right.
you know, it's just also like, but I'm kind of going into more serious subject matter. At this moment, I'm kind of in a sort of a, wouldn't say ennui, but I think a lot of artists are dealing with that too, where it's like, okay, I'm inspired, but at the same time, I'm kind of tired. I guess I'm quoting Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, at first I was inspired, and then I'm sad and I'm tired. So like I go through that phase, and then I just had to kind of go and just draw that stuff. So it's like right now I'm kind of just sort of seeing what's the next inspiration as I go.
But see, isn't that the best place to start, right? Is a place of emotion in some way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I get rageful and angry. I mean, apparently that's where a lot of my work is, and you know, hey, that's where it is. I mean, like I'm kind of amazed, like going on that thing too. It's like I go on the artist, and I actually have a few left. Like a lot of the stuff on the Kickstarter is available on my online store, but like I have one from Zoralita and the artist Rose, you know, Nagelrific, and this is Raw Dog, and you'll get to see who's behind that man behind the corner right there in a minute. And then Rebirth. We'll just be very quick with that because that's not for kids. And then DMT. And then there's Robotic Desperations on a fucking stripper pole. And Goatsy. And then Hand of Glory by Angela Odling. So, and then Shits and Giggles. So they can go and get those still. And they're all signed by each of the individual artists. But yeah, I just think like it's weird because it's like I sort of see a lot of rageful comics. And some of them are funny and some of them are not really funny. Like some of them are like, oh, fuck, you know, like they're intense. And that's good. I mean, I like intense and like fucked up and crazy. Like I love Johnny Ryan. But the thing is that I notice if you don't have humor and you just talk about what's trendy that day, there's a very thin line of doing trendy and kind of pandering. And I noticed some people, and I'm not saying who, I say it in general, like I've noticed people that just write shit and it's the shit that everybody says. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, but I'll just see something and I'll just draw a take on it and draw it all fucked up and people love it. And I think I kind of have to give that to Johnny Ryan because it's like he draws some shit that I think people would be really upset about. But it's like, even if they do get upset, it's like many more people think it's funny as fuck. And my attitude is like, you don't fucking like it, you can just get off. Like one guy just said, oh, you put too many hashtags on this picture, so I'm going to go and like fucking like, you know, ignore it and all that. And he wrote this all down. And I wrote down, you know, I still win because you fucking like commented. So fuck you.
You helped the algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, you put it there on the map. Then I blocked him. I just made fun of him and blocked him. So I was thinking of like fucking with him, but I didn't feel like doing it. I thought just saying that and letting it stay up for an hour and then blocking him just was good enough.
So for those that haven't heard of Demon Bitch, do you want to talk a little bit about those, you know, the early days of that character and those stories?
Oh man, I just really hated some people, and it was either like go to jail after I've committed murder, or actually do something. That's lovely, dude. Hey, it's on brand, dude. It's awesome. But yeah, he's just. It's just like Demon Bitch is like a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell, where people throw their dog shit in gum wrappers, and they want to bring the second coming of Armageddon, but the first one never happened because she's stupid and she gets distracted by, you know, promiscuous sex and hard drugs. So it's like, it amazed me that girls like this, and I'm saying girls like this because I'm a girl and I've seen this firsthand, would get all this fucking attention. And when you really got to see who they were, they're like, you're just a fucking piece of shit. Like there's nothing to you. Like
you're just a mess.
Yeah, like one of my buddies, like my friend in the back, which we will bring on. We must go in and give him this Steam thing when it is time. But he looked at this and like I'd show him some pictures and he'd be like, I'm getting tired of looking at her. It's like, and like there are times I sent some and he's like, enough, fuck, you know, because they just do the same three quarter frog-eyed fucking look and shit like that. And it's like, you know, these girls aren't even pretty. They just do the same boring shit and they whine and complain about fucking some shit. And you're like, and then, oh, there's always some dude like just saying like, oh, maybe there's some hope that I can stick my astral dick in you, even though probably it's disease. Whatever. It's just like, oh, I feel really bad for him. Like, It's like after a while, like, stop whining, you shit.
Well, it feels like you kind of invented your own cosmic karma, sort of, right? You created your own, torture world for awful people.
Oh yeah, it's just like take your ass kicking like a good girl. Like it's just like just this whole rage and stuff, and it's like I just did it to be funny, and I did it because I was mad, and it's funny because now apparently people are like, you so pioneered everything, and I'm like, really? Okay, I was just pissed, but all right, apparently it's like I apparently am very smart and I have a lot of cool things to say, so it's like awesome,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
like I just do stuff that makes me laugh. That's the thing. If I'm not laughing, then it's like, why the fuck am I doing this shit? It's just one of those things. It's like I can't go and I just can't like just draw it and like, oh yeah, this is what the public wants. I can't do that. I've tried that. I think every artist when they're starting out has tried. I mean, their own form of pandering, including me. I have, because they're taught in art school, well, take criticism. And I'm not saying criticism bad, but really it has to work with you. It has to work for you and with you and to you. And I'm kind of at this point now where it needs to be that way, or else you're just like, then what's the point? People are going to know when they read your shit. That's why like some people didn't like my artwork because they said, oh, you're really talented, but yeah, this is boring. So it's like apparently the worse I draw, the more people like it. So it's like, there you go. Like I'll draw Demon Bitch. And like, literally it's kind of funny because like, I'll draw it. Right. And I like, do not give a fuck what it looks like. That's Cunt Man, that's Cunt Man right here. And let's see here. And like, there's like fucking Demon Bitch right here. So when I draw Demon Bitch, it like doesn't take me that long. Cause I think of this like really unappealingly sausagey shaped person. Like a person that's so scrawny. And again, like one of the girls I hated was just a fucking scrawny piece of shit. I mean, there were other girls that I hated that were fat as fuck too, but it's like, I make fun of whoever it is, like that, whatever thing. And like, I made fun of her. And like one time she gained a lot of weight or gained some weight, but she didn't look right. Like it didn't put on in a healthy way. It made her kind of look like overstuffed a little bit. I'm like, oh, you look like a sausage. So I just drew her and shit. And she was like bone white as hell too. So I was just like drawing all this shit. And so I just made fun of her. And it's like, my friend looked at that. One of my buddies looked at it and said, oh God, she looks like she smells like sour milk, So it's just like, the artful level, like people go, oh, the artful level of beauty. I said, I go for the artful level of gross. Cause a lot of my friends are guys. And so they try to gross me out. And then I just say something like, they at first be like, I won, and I'm like, and I'd say something else, and they're like,
pushing those boundaries is kind of the point of good art, right? Like pushing those emotional, visual boundaries. I think what I like about the look of the Demon Bitch design is it would be weird if it was like perfect. It's perfect that it fits her. That it is so that the outside and interior of her match so nicely.
Yeah, like she's just an unappealing piece of shit, but yet people want to talk to her or something. And it's like not even a lot of people. It's just they kind of overblow their own importance, people like that. And you run into a lot of that shit in LA. I mean, it's like weird. Yeah. Like, I'll have people that say, I'm vegan for health reasons. Like, that's cool. And then they'll later on say, hey, you want to do a bumper of cocaine in the back? I'm like, what? Wait. And it's like, yeah, I do it to be healthy. I'm like, Coke is not good for you. It tends to kill things. So it's like, oh my God, this, like, I think it's like I also seem to make fun of a weird disconnect of people, like this disconnect that people tend to have. And it's just sort of like one of those things, and people go on, they project that onto politics a lot, but I'm talking about just general everyday shit. Like They'll go, AK, I'm a health nut. I work out and I do this, and I do yoga and shit, but yet I'm the most abusive, drug using asshole on the planet. And you're like, okay, I mean, it's not like, oh yeah, you toke a little weed now and then, or you eat a little edible now and then or something. Where I live, it's legal. So just up, guys.
We're California's here.
yeah, right. So there's that. But we got that, and that just, what's that noise? I must kill this thing. Okay. I have no idea what that is, but
So I'm going to drop Christy's link again in the chat for those that are unfamiliar with what Christy makes and what she does. Please just take a chance to take a look at it. I think you'll definitely not find anything like it anywhere else in the comic community. So it's definitely worth the time.
I killed the tab, by the way. It was in the mainframe Comic-Con tab because I was watching it. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's just it's just that I just kind of point out like what I find silly in society. But again, I don't even want to say that because it sounds kind of arrogant because I mean everybody has their own take on society, and I guess people really like it because I've been told that you take things that people don't want to say but they don't have the courage to say it, and you're like, here you go, it's all fucked up, and,
deal with it.
Yeah, I guess that's how you make people like you. You just draw where you don't give a fuck, and then they go like, "Oh yeah, like and then they go like, "Oh, you're so great." It's kind of like people like, I guess I was talking to this one guy, Pops. He does CrumCon, and he was talking about how Neil Peart, would write these lyrics, and people are like, "Oh, these speak to me. These are so beautiful and everything." And he said, "I wrote these for me. I don't give a shit." I mean, he gave a shit, but it's like the people where it speaks the most to. It's like what you need to do is just do it for yourself. I think it's a good thing of self-awareness. It's like that's a very big difference between that and saying I'm so great all the time.
Right.
It's like you should already know you're great, but just like write about what you experience. Like there were ones that I did like of Antifa trying to burn down the federal building, and then all of a sudden they've got these like hot dogs and fucking like marshmallows like on the cookout, and there's this one BLM protester that's like, what the fuck? So there you go. Like that, I actually saw a video of that, and it was like, wow. I didn't see them do the cookout thing. I just drew that because
don't you think it comes back all to truth, right? Your personal truth and and then truth will resonate, right?
Yeah. So it's just like one of those things. I think that personally for me, I just draw what I do. I can't be anybody but myself. So I just draw what's in my mind, and if people really like it, they like it. And yeah, I mean, you want to do stuff to increase marketability. You want stuff to increase like this, and yeah, you can do that, but I don't think you should compromise what you want to do. Like there are times where I like just feel like I'm in the zone, like I just feel inspired by this artist or that artist or this, and it's not like I go and look at their stuff and copy it. I just kind of think about it, and then just this image pops up. That's how it works for me. Just this image pops up in my head, and I'll just start drawing all this stuff, and people really like it. So I think you need to be inspired. And again, there are times I'm not. Like I run a lunch hour every day, Monday through Friday, virtually, for an hour. And there are times I'm just like, I don't feel like doing much of anything. I'll just sketch a bunch of stupid shit while talking to you. People like it, and I think I do that show because not only do I talk about my art and all that, but I get to interact with people. And especially nowadays in this day and age where we had to do social distancing and not know if we were all going to die or something. And then now it's like kind of returning us back to normal. Because I notice some people that view my stuff, if I'm not on that day, like I'll take a personal day off or something. Because sometimes my weekends get like filled up because I'm a fucking workaholic, I guess. I don't know. It's just, and I need to take a day off. So sometimes I need to take a day off. And literally there are some people that view my work or view my lunch hour, and I could tell they're kind of going a little bit nutty. Like, I'm not saying that to insult them, but they like start getting really pessimistic and upset and sad. And it's like, whoa, like I just started seeing that correlation. And it's not like I go sunshine and puppies and kittens and let me draw nice positive things. I mean, people are overrated. Somebody said I got issues. Hey, we all got issues. But yeah, I mean, just people get kind of like really upset and sad about a lot of shit. And especially now, like they don't know how to feel. A lot of things, like there's a lot of things that are coming out that are not, that we thought we lived in this nice little shell of a world, and it's not. But I don't believe we're like heading like a big meteor ball of fire into something. And I know people can go like, well, how do you know that? Because all this, I'm like, I had a pancreatic tumor last year. Okay, they told me initially, like they didn't say it right out, but it was a 6-inch mass. So they thought probably I was going to die. I had probably a very advanced stage of cancer. And it turned out like I had just this rare 1% growth that would have turned to cancer. It would have 100% done it. And they took it out and they thought I was going to be diabetic. I'm not. So I'm kind of like, I almost hit the end of my world. Okay.
Right.
And it wasn't that bad. So it's like, I understand things are serious, and I'm not saying that they aren't, but you can't go out of your way to say the world is going to be on fire and we're all going to die, because then, yeah, definitely you will die. And is that what you want? No. So I had to focus on getting well. I had to focus on it not being serious. I had to accept that it was serious. And it didn't mean that I could go home and just pretend, okay, I have a tumor. I accept it. I'm just going to, go home and make sure it's okay. I'm like, no, it had to be done. It had to be taken care of. But once you accept something, you can take care of it in a much more sane fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I also feel like, and maybe it's just getting into my 40s, like whenever there's an election year, that whole attitude of there's a meteor coming seems to go way up, right? Everything gets escalated to another level.
It's just, as I said, it's just the hype of the political system. It's the hype of our media. It's the hype of people like wanting to find drama in something that really doesn't need to have that much drama. I mean, politics are just drama when you look at it. I mean, they don't need to be, but they are. And, I mean, there are some very serious things and there's some very serious issues, and some people do some things better than others. But it's like just hyping it all up. It's just running around, doit, 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 like my head's all cut off. Like, okay, from my own personal experience, making a decision out of fear, it's okay to be afraid, but making a decision out of fear, you will put yourself in more of a fucked situation. I mean, like, okay, what are my parameters? What can I work with? Okay, what do I want? Go from there. That's it. And I know I've had people like say to me, you should draw cartoons about this and that. I'm like, I don't want to. It's like, it's kind of like they just say the same old shit anyway. So it's like, I don't feel like doing it. It's like, what if I don't say the same old shit? Are you guys going to think it's funny? And I just get kind of annoyed by it. It's just done so many times. It's just like, all right, it's a tired old horse. It's dead. I don't need to attack it.
Well, I think your personal truth or your personal perspective has been what's driving you for so long. Why would you deviate from that ever?
Yeah, it's like I kind of find it in some way another form of pandering in some way. Like, you got to do this because it'll make you sell. I don't give a shit. Honestly, like, it's kind of like people going on Facebook and like, I voted. I'm like, that's great. Fucking great. Awesome. Say the thing, whatever. Like, Johnny Ryan had this cartoon of people beating each other up, shooting each other, fucking setting each other on fire. And then this girl says, I voted. I'm like, nobody gives a fuck, you dumb bitch. It's like, I mean, again, if you want to take a selfie of yourself, fine. If you want to go and write about it, fine. I don't give a shit. That's your page or whatever. You feel happy about it, fine. But what annoyed the hell out of me of last election is like people were writing my dick to vote. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm an adult, And it's like, I don't need to announce if I do the thing, when I do the thing, and how I do the thing. Just get out of my face. I mean, literally, like, if I didn't mention it for that reason, it's like, that's my own personal shit. And it's like, that's just what I've been doing for the past how many years that I've been able to. So it's like, why the fuck do I need to put a ass ugly sticker on myself and just say, I voted for fucking likes? Like, I don't care. Like,
well,
but you got to do the thing.
Voting worked just fine before we had Instagram, right?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go and draw a dick on it. Maybe then will people leave me alone. I don't know. It's just, I'm just getting to a point where it's like, oh, I voted. Look at me. I'm like, that's great. Look at you. I don't give a shit.
The
Who's
future
gonna remember that?
by Instagram, right? You go on Instagram and you pick your candidates and then post it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just getting to a point where I just find it kind of silly. It's like, pay attention to me. And people are like, but you're on social media. I said, yeah, but I work on stuff. I put my work up there. I put my personality up there. I don't need to put up like I fucking take a shit. Come on. It's like, I don't need to do that. It's like, and if you want it, fine. It's like, but don't look to me for your fucking approval. I don't care. It's just like, people are like,
well, it's because we're in the era of like sharing everything.
I'm all for sharing, but goddamn, like, this is just pointless. Like, some of the shit, like, I voted. Here's this ugly fucking sticker I got in the mail. Like, that's great. I'm gonna wear it all day. Awesome. Have fun.
Didn't it used to have meaning? Maybe when we didn't vote by mail, but like the more you vote by mail, like you could be posting that Instagram picture for months.
Well, that's why I drew Demon Bitch, I voted, that cartoon. By the way, that's available in a sticker. And she said, I did it many times because she wanted the stupid fucking sticker. Because that was my commentary on people putting that fucking sticker up on there, putting it everywhere. Fucking, and again, I didn't care even then. It's just when people started writing my dick about to vote, it's like, leave me alone. God, get out of my fucking face. Like, I don't want to participate in that. You know, it's not voting. It's just, I don't feel the need to talk about me voting. I'll talk about, oh yeah, I'm going to Comic-Con. Oh yeah, I ate this thing. Oh yeah, I did something really neat. Oh, but you got to remember to vote. It's like, don't talk to me like I'm a fucking kid. I get it. Go away. Get out of here, you know?
I did civics in high school. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's like I did civics. I actually know what certain things like impeachment and censure and all that. Yes, I do know that. And I do know like how to ratify things. So
wait, now there's 3 Demon Bitch books, right?
yes.
Public.
Yes.
Is there a 4th one planned at some point?
Yeah, I probably plan to release this piece of shit every year. Like, you know, I'll draw new comics and then include them in the book. I'll probably put more terrible things in it. I'm looking to probably run another Kickstarter. I might do actually 2 books at once. It's basically called, the other one is called Vanitas Fair. And it's just basically all the stupid shit that happened during this pandemic and all the drawings I did of it. I probably won't have no concept of any sort of like organization or joy whatsoever. And then there's going to be a new Demon Bitch book. I will put that out. And then, you know, I'm just going to do probably a Kickstarter in January, it looks like. I'm just taking a break right now because I did 2 in 1 year, and that was a first for me. And I did the second one I can't believe it. Like, I started one during COVID, but like, it's like Charlie was like, oh yeah, this is the time to do it. I'm like, cool. And Charlie can't tell the future. So a week or 2 into it was good. And then the whole riots happened. And then I was like, oh my God, shit. Like, all the things that I had to deal with, like there would be one person that pledged and dropped and pledged and dropped. I'm like, after like the first time, I was like, oh, I'm sorry to see you go. After the third time, I'm like, okay, you silly bitch, get out of my face. You know, like okay, you're going to drop it. You're going to put it like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to acknowledge this every time. But I made it above goal. So I'm happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have like
2 this year. They both went above goal.
They both went above goal. Yeah.
Congrats. That is amazing. Good for you.
The USS Demon Bitch somehow does not leak or sink.
That's the best news we've heard today, I think.
Oh yeah, like can you hand me the pin real quick?
Pin.
The pin I gave you.
Oh,
yeah, I got one of the artists here. he needs an introduction, but
yeah.
We can move it to him next if you want.
Okay. It's his birthday also.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, but one of them is Cove Thick 19. That is available on my site, and it's
I remember you posting that one.
Yeah, people are like, I played it, I think, with Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison song. And it's like, this girl is poison. You never trust a big butt and a smile, man.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah. So she's got a huge ass. So it's glittery, and it's pretty tall. So, yeah, you should try it out. Oh, shit. I'm like, argh.
Are any of the Kickstarters still going? Like, can people still contribute to any of them?
I don't have a Kickstarter now. It concluded. Thank you. It
Okay.
concluded, but you can buy them on the store. So
Gotcha.
on my website, you can go on the store. There's a store link, and you can use your credit card and order it, and I'll ship it anywhere in the world.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's the link I've been dropping, and it's the one here in her name tag there that says horatorastudios.com, and you can go to the shops portion there and support Christy.
And you're buying American made.
Get your COVID cum rag.
Right? COVID cum rag. Here, let's wipe it. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
This is a fresh one. I got my own right up here. Yeah, I have to thank one of my artists for saying that. She kept calling it cum rag. Now it's stuck. It's like, fuck you.
That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
So you have an artist with you? Do you want to bring him in?
Oh,
Come on over,
Sean.
So
What do you want to do?
Sit in the hot seat. Okay.
It's definitely a hot seat. It's fucking hot here in California and shit.
She's like, I was comfy, and now I gotta come over here.
Yeah. Fuck. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so this is Lawrence, Raw Dog.
Raw Dog, a real deal.
What's up, Lawrence? How's it going?
All good, man. Just trying to stay cool over here.
Yeah, so we're all in California. It's been really hot this week. Hope you guys are surviving. He's got the Hawaiian shirt on. The feels are happening there.
Yeah.
So,
I got the real deal shirt on too.
Ooh, let me get started.
That's one of the ones I did for Stussy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
And where can people find you on social media or on the internet?
I mean, I have a site, www.realdealcomics.com. And I got stuff. I got to get some stuff straight on there. But I mean, you can look at it. But my web guru kind of fucked things up, so my sales are screwed up. But
you smoking dust.
Yeah, you're smoking. My web guru was smoking angel dust again after all these years. He wigged out and fucked up my buying power and stuff. But I'm gonna get that straight. But you can still, like I say, you can look at the site and see the stuff I got.
Awesome.
And
I just dropped the link for that in the chat so people can click on that and check it out.
Yeah, I threw that up there.
So what kind of art do you do? What's your medium?
Comics, Real Deal. It's more rage per page, more slaughter for you. That's my my graphic novel published by Fantagraphics, and this is just a compilation issue of like 7 different books in one hardcover book here. And then I'm working on, also have Real Deal number 8 that's out. Then I'm working on well, here's the cover, Real Deal number 9. So I'm working on this now. So unfortunately, I have a full-time job. Plus, I do this, so eats up all my time and stuff.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard of Real Deal before?
No, this is my first time. I'm super excited.
Real Deal is about just like guys we knew. Originally, I had a partner. His name is H.P. McElwee. He's passed on now, but just the guys in the ghetto, thuggish guys who are crazy, guys who are in and out of jail all the time. And they didn't give a fuck about anything. And they weren't scared of going to jail. They weren't scared of, anything. They weren't scared of anything. And it's just like a homage to these guys who we used to know and stuff. Some guys from up in Oakland, guys in LA and stuff who you got GC's the main character, Gangster Cool. You got Slick Willie, his buddy. You got Ace Brogan. Let's see, Slick Willie's an ex-pimp and he's all burned out now. So they all just hang out and fuck up and run the streets. And GC's woman, her name is Pork Butt. They've been together for years. And he dogs her out, but she loves him, so they still stay together. And so GC just fucks up. He just gets high, gets drunk, runs the streets, acts crazy. And no matter what happens, he's always good. Nothing. He never gets locked down or anything. He's got a buddy named Chino Bill who's he's in and out of jail all the time. And like he'll break out of jail just to hang out, and then he'll
ain't no thing.
Yeah, then he'll go back to jail. It's like fuck it, And we've known people like that. Like they don't care about going to jail. It's like a big joke. So Real Deal. Let's see what.
Well, remember when you told me about the guy that inspired GC about his son and the hooker?
Oh yeah. What was that guy? Jury stuff. Yeah, this guy who the original GC where he was a janitor up in Oakland. And he was crazy, and he got drunk and high one night. And he's a middle-aged guy. He had a grown son, and he had a hooker over. And he told his son he wanted him to fuck this hoe. And his son said, "No, Dad, I want to fuck this hoe." And then, like he wound up throwing a potted plant out of a plate glass window and going crazy and these are kind of these guys used to go to parties like that up in Oakland all the time. And like I said, it's all based on real people we've known, and that's what's so cool about it. So Real Deal, like I said, a lot of people know about it. It's all over the world. I had a development deal with Fox Animation a few years back. We was in development for a solid year, and then the guy who signed us to the deal, he left Fox, and then some new guy came in, and he only wanted to do his own shit. He didn't want to do any of the stuff. Everybody was already in development, got cut out. And it was rough. So, but that's how that shit is. So, I'm still trying to get another deal and everything. And
I'm disappointed in that guy.
Yeah, he's fucked up shit. But what are you gonna do?
I'm still disappointed in him.
Yeah. And so anyway, that's Real Deal in a nutshell. And so I'm putting out another Real Deal number 9. And like I say, then I'm getting digital, and I'm gonna start doing some more. These, like I say, this shirt I'm wearing is from Stussy, but I'm gonna do my own shirts and a bunch of other stuff, and that's about it, man.
So do you work digitally, or are you hand drawing with pencils?
Everything has been hand drawn, but recently I picked up a Surface thanks to this young lady right here. She put together everything I needed, so I've gone digital for the best price. So I'm gonna start doing a lot of stuff. So like these new shirts and stuff, I'm gonna do. It'll be
That's
digital, and it's way faster to work that way and stuff. You know, compared to erasing stuff and all that and everything. And then before, like, if you know, I'd have to draw something, then have it scanned, and then you know that's how now I can just go straight digital. So I'm gonna be doing both. So I'm gonna be doing, like I said, the t-shirts and stuff. It'll be digital, and then like a lot of commissioned art and stuff. I'll do it the old-fashioned way and stuff. So yeah, and I got some skateboards coming out through what is it? Deathwish Skateboards. So I can't show them to you until they.
Oh, that's cool. You're doing some decks. That's cool.
Yeah, I did some decks, 4 of them. Also, I did decks for a company called Patsy Skateboards. It's a small company, but I did decks for them a few years back. But then Deathwish, so like I said, I finished those off a few weeks ago. And whenever they come out with them, I guess the next few months they'll come out with them.
I feel like that art form has evolved a ton since I was a kid. It was so simple. Decks were so simple when I was a kid, but now it's like I was watching an interview earlier where a guy had a Golden Girls.
Wow!
It was like all the Golden Girls on a deck right behind.
That's wild. Yeah, that's a trip.
It's like they don't want to like fucking like skate in those fucking things. They just want to hang them up because. Like I remember this one Mad magazine, like I showed a kid, like this would have been our age, right? A kid, like 15-year-old kid, and he like gets a new skate deck, and he's like banging it up and fucking it up, and then he's skating. He's like, yeah, okay, because he needed to bang up your skateboard to look legit.
I
mean, I remember like my brother and I, we would get so mad at our mom if she bought us new white shoes. Like we were like, no, we gotta take that out and scuff it. Gotta get dirt over it. It's gotta look worn.
Yeah,
fucking ripped jeans, man.
Well, I remember the old like the Black Knight skateboards were made with wooden decks with the clay wheels. Yeah, and I was just laughing, like I said, that seems so ancient now and stuff. Because I was talking to a young guy. I said, "You remember when they had the clay wheels on the skateboards?" And like,
yeah, it was like the fucking plastic for the polymer plastic shit.
No, the fuck I was talking about. Yeah, yeah, it was a wooden skateboard, it had a Black Knight on it, and clay wheels and stuff, and then how far they've come since then and stuff. Yeah, so it's so I just did. Oh, and I also did the album cover for Snoop Dogg. It was the what was the one with Damn Funk on it?
I think it was George Clinton, like Snoop Dogg and the Funk or something.
Well, it was called Damn Funk. The guy's name was Damn Funk, and it was Snoop Dogg something in the Funk, and it was from Stone's Throw Records. I did that cover. And it was cool. They had Snoop. They were playing the music. It was on Jimmy Kimmel's show, and they had my album cover like digitally projected. That was awesome. I think that was something else. Yeah.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get partnered up? Are you working on something together, or is it just like hanging out at cons?
Well, what it is that I met him at San Diego 2016. Yeah, he remembers. And we met up and we started talking and shit and everything because I would read Real Deal and I just give him some of my books. And it's just, and like the thing is, like we've worked on a couple of things. Like we just kept talking. Like we talk about all sorts of shit, and like we talk about all sorts of far out things. And we have collaborated on a couple of stories together. So it's like I've told him this idea. Oh, I got this really fucking wild shit in my head. I mean, he's got his great stuff on his own outright, but like sometimes I'll get some weird shit in my head because he knows I'm into weird shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I did like the whole Lovecraft thing, so I kind of had an idea about a Lovecraft thing. And then just playing on that shit. And then there was one that they did about like a funeral home. And it was, can I just tell them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, I was working at another job. It was a shit job. Right?
They all are.
And so he said, I have to go to a funeral. Like it's a friend's mom's funeral, right? She passed away. She's an old lady. So I said, okay. And like, there's not a lot of things that can shock me at all. And this still didn't. But like, I opened up. So like break time happens. I open up my message. And there's like this fucking picture of this old lady in the casket. And I wrote to him, I was like, why the fuck are you showing me his mom in the casket? And he's like going, no. And he sent me a picture of the son taking a picture of his mom.
Yeah, he was taking pictures of it, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like,
you got these phone cameras now.
I don't know why the fuck you would take a picture of it. But anyway, so he did this. So I just had this idea. And then it was, and I'm not going to get into it because
it'll be a number 9.
Yeah, it'll be a number. I just couldn't remember if it was a number 9 or not. But it was just like, so essentially, like then I started finding these you remember all those fucked up articles about like all the funeral homes where they would stack the bodies like cordwood of the indigent and not indigenous, sorry, indigent and homeless. like because the guy like cut a deal, but it was like way under cost. So he just stuffed these fucking bodies in. It was like nasty. Like they like literally the guys that had to go in there and clean it out. They like had to like one of the guys just stripped in front of his like fucking yard and just burned his fucking clothes. It was that nasty, even with a hazmat suit. And then there was like another one in Georgia where they had fucking dead bodies in the forest because it was just near some woods. And they just oh fuck it, we're just gonna throw them all. But they're like it was just like weird. So like all these weird burial stories. So I would send them to him, and then so I kind of like I had an idea for a story where GC's mom died. And then it's like this whole fucking thing in its real deal style. And we would just describe like the ghetto fucking funeral home and shit. And it's like, you'll have to read it in Real Deal 9, but it was just like, just shit like that, like crazy shit that would come out of the head. And then just like, we just looked at all these fucked up news articles and I just sent it to him. Like there was one recently, like where he found one of like this funeral director, like there was a shootout in the fucking funeral.
Shootout at the funeral home, yeah.
And I was like, oh, we called it.
You guys were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
At least the bodies are at the funeral home. You have to fuck around.
Yeah, you don't need to go far. I mean, they might have to take the trip to the hospital for fucking like a coroner. I mean, I knew a guy that was a coroner's assistant too, and I said, "Well, what was the weirdest one you ever saw?" He said, "Well, it was a home of a gay couple, but they saran wrapped the guy up because I guess it's a fetish thing, but they didn't put the breathing hole in the right place, so the poor dude suffocated."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow." He said that was the weirdest one I had to go. This is LA County coroner.
You wouldn't even dream of that.
So you guys had a similar sensibility then, as far as what either piqued your interest or make you laugh or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he said my books are wild shit. I've said it's mostly wild shit too. Like they're coming from two different spectrums. I guess it's like mine is like, I don't know if I want to say female rage because it makes people have a certain expectation about it. It's just, I don't know what would.
Well, women do like your books. Like I say, you had a Comic-Con. Look like they do hone in on it. It's something a female thing. Yeah. That they seem to dig and stuff.
Yeah, like I hate this bitch.
Yeah. So it's funny when I met her. I was sitting up. Me and Johnny Ryan were signing at the 2016 Comic-Con, and then she was up there. And then you started looking at Real Deal or something. Yeah. So we started talking. Then she invited me over at her table and stuff. And then I was tripping on. I said, "Oh wow, you got some." And this was before you did Demon Bitch, right?
I think it was.
Yeah, you hadn't done Demon Bitch. You had the. What was the other thing? The Sepulcher and the.
That was when I drew mostly pretty shit.
Yeah,
and then I did Personal Monsters. That's when I came out.
Personal Monsters.
Like, Personal Monsters, like. And you probably saw you saw the rage in that.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of anger in that one. So yeah, it's just like it was pretty crazy on that. So it's like right now it's like I just tell him some ideas that I have about the characters, and then he just like draws them or whatever. Or at least it's like a treasure trove of like shit to do at some point. It's not like there's like a hard thing like. I mean, it's his book, so there you go, so.
Right.
And like with mine, he hasn't like actually, he's drawn some shit for Demon Bitch. Like, Let me find Pimp Hand if I can do it.
Everything you've done, I've done something for you.
Like I've asked him, hey, you want to go draw the thing, and he always says yes, so it's like, all right. So let me find it. Hold on. But he sometimes puts his own characters in it. Like he has Jabbo the blind pimp, and he's like fucking cracking a goddamn. Here it is.
There you go.
It's also one of the prints that you could buy in that pack that I have.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like fucking smashing a cane over
Demon Bitch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Actually, one time, one person asked me, like, do you advocate violence against women and you're beating her up and shit? And I said, she's a demon. They're assholes. And he's like, oh, okay. It's like, I mean, there you go. I just say they're a demon. They're assholes.
Yeah, people come at you with a lot of bullshit. When you be honest, like.
I had one woman scream. I had a couple women scream at me like I was promoting misogynistic dialogue against women. I'm like, honey, I have tits. Leave me alone.
You called her a bitch. I don't like the bitch word. All that shit.
Remember that old ass chick that like fucking came at you? This was before I knew him, but he told me about it. Like that old ass.
Oh chick. Yeah. I was doing a a sit down with Johnny Ryan. We're on the stage doing a thing at the Center Family Theater. That's like we used to call the silent movie theater on Fairfax. And we're doing a panel, and so a bunch of people came to see me there. And after we were talking, and some old hippie chick, I guess she's like 69, 70 or something. She was some artist from Frisco, and she started screaming and hollering from it's misogynistic, all this stupid shit. And a bunch of young chicks there who are Real Deal fans said, shut up. Said, it's just a comic book. Shut up. Like that. And she shut the fuck up. And it was hilarious.
She was trying to suck your dick afterwards.
Yeah. And then And then so then afterwards, we're out on the, they had like a patio behind the theater, and a bunch of people who had bought Real Deal years earlier came there. They brought their issues with them for me to sign. They said, I heard you were going to be here. I want you to sign. I said, of course, of course. And then she saw like nobody was buying her shit. She was just sitting over there. Nobody's buying her shit. I had people buying my, I was sitting right next to Jaime Hernandez. People were buying my comics. Plus, you know, people bought them years ago, saying, would you please sign this for me? So I didn't say anything. I'm just signing and stuff. And then the chick starts like, oh, you know, blah, blah, and apologize. I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about you. But then it's funny. I can't remember her goddamn name. I have to ask Johnny. But then I've seen her at all the cons and everything. So she's supposed to be somebody. But, you know, the hell with her. You know, I just, you know, it pissed me off. I said, when she sat up, you know, she was on the panel too. She's sitting up talking. I didn't disrupt her. I didn't say a goddamn thing. I sat there quietly. I clapped for her, all this shit, polite. And then she gonna fucking disrespect me. It was disgusting.
That's why I was saying like she was trying to suck your dick out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Like, I've had that too. Like with some people, like they become an asshole to me, and then when I just go tell them to go fuck themselves, they're like, it's like, oh yeah, you thought I was gonna fucking apologize? Fuck you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I mean, most of the time, like both genders, like both sexes, really like my work. Guys find it funny, like, oh damn, because like they really actually like women that kind of go there. I mean, like my chicks. Yeah, like they really like that, no matter what the dialogue is. Sometimes with people, I think it's, but like I've also had women really like it. But then the women that come at me, women that come at me, they're usually women. Like guys will say like shitty, little mean things. Like one guy said, well, you know, you put so many hashtags that I decided to ignore. I said, shut up, you dumb cunt. I told him like, yeah, you already commented on mine, so you already gave me like the notice that I needed. So hey, who won? Mm-hmm. But like with like some women that just always have to throw like, oh, you're fucking throwing a racist trip. It's like, oh, you're this bitch.
You're okay. Fucking, you're racist.
Yeah. So I just was like, you know, it's like that's my attitude. It's like, fuck you, you know. So it's like, you know, and they just go away, they evaporate. So it's like,
well, whatever. You know, just show you got to do your own thing. You know, your thing, you do it. Don't copy other people. Just like a long time ago, we were at this. I mean, when Mac was still alive, and you know, we sitting at this guy named Schwartz who does a little Comic-Con at the Shrine Auditorium. We're sitting up there with our little table and stuff, and these, you know, guys come by and like, well, why don't you draw a black superhero comic? I said, well, you draw a black superhero comic. I said, you already got plenty. And why the hell am I guy? That's boring, you know. And, I had another guy said, well, do a sex comic. I said, there's plenty of sex comics. I'm not thinking about no damn.
That would be like the furthest thing.
Yeah, like do a sex comic. And then me and Mac, like I said, we're sitting at our table, and these young guys come up, and they said, where do you get your finance? You know, it's back when I was self-published. You know, first was self-published, and then issues 8 and 9. You know, then finally got hooked up with Fantagraphics. But you know, we're sitting there, and the guy said, where do you get your finance? And we both said in unison, we work. You know, we work, we put our money in, this is what we want to do and shit.
That's how I did my shit too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a Kickstarter.
Can you expand on, I'd be curious to know like the evolution for you at least of like self-publishing from the perspective, because it seems like there's a ton of it now.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure that it was a lot more complicated at the beginning.
It was hard as hell, yeah, because, you know, you didn't have all this digital shit. And because we, you know, first me and Mac, we're trying to get it published by somebody else. We're doing first we're just drawing a little list. Well, I met, you know, we were working back when CalFed Saving Loan. We both worked there, and he'd be down in the basement, and I go down and visit. And he was drawing this crazy looking shit, and we used to be able to, you know, we used to have drink down there and stuff, and you know, off to ourselves. I said, what the hell is this? He said, this is GC. I said, what's GC stand for? He said, Gangster Cool. And it was just the craziest comic. And we started talking. I said, you know, I draw. He said, no, I didn't know that. And we started, you know, drawing the stories and stuff. And then we were like sending it out to different people. You know, all the people down, you know, Marvel, Dark Horse, this, that.
The Marvel one is fucking.
Oh, yeah. And then out of all, like he, you know, everything was just mailing. You know, there's no, you know, email, all that shit. And then Marvel was the only company. They sent me a letter back, and I lost. You know, I moved so many times, I lost it, but. It was hilarious. I get this manila envelope in the mail, and this picture of Spider-Man on it. I'm like, holy shit, fucking Marvel. And I open up the letter, and it says, usually we just send a form letter to people. But he said, in your case, we had to take our feet off the desk and write you a personal letter. And it just said, this is hilarious. This is crazy stuff. And it just said, sorry, we can't use it. See you down the road and stuff. But it was funny because Harold had submitted them numerous story submissions, and he had multiple. So he had the rejection letters, but like it was just a form letter. But this one, they gave us our own letter. But
that's amazing.
So first we had to people. We decided, okay, we're gonna do this ourselves, and used to be a newspaper called The Wave. So I went to them, so they had their printer. So he said, well, he printed for us, and then that's when I drawn everything. The first issue Real Deal was like the size of like an old Life magazine, and the reason why was because I didn't know anything about the printing, and I drew it that size, and they couldn't reduce it. So the guy said, this is smaller, I can reduce it. So we went with that and went with a paper, cover, not gloss. And then after that, then I shrunk it down basically like magazine size. Then after number 2, but the same thing. Oh, it was rough, like dealing with printers. Like the first printer, he was all right, very expensive. At the time, I was making good money. I was a production control analyst in the IT industry. So, I said, like, fuck it, I want to just put my money into it. And then the second guy, it was real fucked up. It got real crazy. And then third issue, I started dealing with Brenner in Texas, and they do good work. But then, but that is just struggling, just working and self-publishing. And so finally, after I did the Stussy shirts, then the guy, the art director Stussy, had some connections, and that's he hooked me up with Fantagraphics and stuff. And then they knew about my work, and then that's when they did the compilation issue and stuff. And then they've been my publisher. Anything I do, they publish it, and that's awesome. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just like for me now, it's like I think it's just like it also kind of adds to our own personal investment when we self-publish. Like, people think, oh, you've been doing the Kickstarter thing. I said, no, I fucking funded the first 2 books that I published, man.
Fucking working.
And like, I didn't have like a few super high paying job. It was just like, okay, well, I'm making decent. I can go ahead and sponsor this. But it's like, it's like, this is your own fucking blood, sweat, and tears, and you're reinvesting your shit into it. Oh, yeah. So it's like, I think also like when you kind of work on your own shit and invest your own shit, you get kind of tougher. You just go like, well, they said, well, you maybe should mark. No, I'm not doing that. Bye. I know how much this fucker costs. Like,
exactly. The worth on a different scale than the number on the back of a barcode.
Yeah, I mean, and also I noticed that like actually people are willing to pay a little more for an indie anyway, just because like they know you don't have the bucks. I mean, he's lucky he has the graphic novel through Fantagraphics, so it's like that cost per thing because they can order in a huger volume. But him and I like alone by our own freaking books, like. We got to do Kickstarters and shit, so it can be affordable. But even then,
Well, let me tell you, it was funny when I did Real Deal #1. So did 5,000 issues. So I took up a whole pallet. And it was so funny. So, I gave the address, Real Deal Productions. So I was looking out the house. So I see this big tractor trailer drive down the street, drive up the street, drive down. And finally, the guy drives up and he parks the thing, leaves it idling. And he walks up, knocks on the door, and it is a house. He says, "Is this Real Deal Productions?" I said, "Yeah." he was looking for a warehouse or something. He was in a tractor trailer.
He's looking for a high rise.
Yeah. And then we unloaded took he had a lift on the back, so he lifted the pallet down and then rolled it up in the garage and stuff. But it was just funny because I was looking and I see this big tractor trailer, and I say it goes down. I said, "Why the guy keep driving?" I said, I bet that's for us and stuff. And sure enough, they got, is this Real Deal Productions? Looking at, is this Real Deal Productions? I said, yeah.
It is now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, funny. There was like weird shit. Like, I kind of had to deal with that with this thing. Like, like the minimum I could order for decks was like 500, right? So I know they're kind of small, but I kind of didn't know what to expect. So I had to call and make that question because I never did the pallets and stuff. Sorry, I'm late, but it's good to see one. Yes. Hi. So what ended up happening was that I was like going, I know that these aren't very big, but will I expect these on a pallet? Like exactly. I just need to know because I mean, I do have a house, but it's like, I need to find out where to put it or if it's a pallet, they're like, well, actually it's going to be like several Amazon sized things. but I've never had to order a fucking thing, a pallet worth of shit like that. But I've handled them. I worked a lot in shipping and handling. So it's like, that's why I had to ask that question, like, how am I going to store them? So I stored them. So there you go.
Well, we're kind of running out of time. We got a few minutes left here. Christy, was there anything you wanted to talk about or anything you wanted to share before we wrap things up?
I don't know. If you like it, buy my shit. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're going to get a glow-in-the-dark pin. You get a glitter pin. I do stuff lunch hour. Hey, if you guys want to buy stuff, support my Patreon. It's all on my website. If you want a commission, contact me. If you want to work with me, we can talk and we can see if we can work well together.
And I'm going to drop the link one more time. Although it's on the screen, everybody can see it. I want to make sure everybody's got that hot link they can click on and get over. Christian, are we going to see you at all in the rest of the con? Is there any other panels that you're going to be around on?
Not for Mainframe, but I will be on a show on Monday. Let me take a look.
Okay.
I'll be on a show.
Christy on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. She is a very, very easy person to find on social media.
Yeah, I know, especially when people like want to go beat my ass because I owe them money or something. Anyway, I'll be on Geekgasm. It's hosted on IndieVolt. So go and look up IndieVolt. I think they're online radio. And they've actually got I think they've got a big following, like 80,000 people right now. Holy shit. Yeah, so it'll be here, I think, at 6 p.m. on the 19th. Okay. So that'll be on, I think, Wednesday, right?
Let's see. Yes, Wednesday.
Yeah, and I'll probably say some horrible shit, you know, that knowing me. Yeah.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's like, it's funny because it's like John's comics with kids. But then, like, here I am saying all sorts of shit. And we're talking about, like, people killing each other and beating each other up and demons.
Christy, you realize this is the first time I've been on a live stream and you got me to say the word "cum." So
there you go, man. Right? I mean, like, you have like 3 daughters, so it's like, Jesus. I feel kind of bad.
They're down the hall playing video games, so they don't.
That's true. And then also, I put a demon on a fortune telling deck, so I'm sure they're going to get things out of this. Actually, it's just funny. It comes with its own little fucking, like, you just have this one. See, maybe somebody should take DMT and talk to the coronavirus, and that's her with some cocaine and shit. Because you should really do drugs when you're doing fortune telling. And then there's like a little pamphlet that'll tell you what all the cards are about.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, there's one where she says, "I'm an empath, but I don't care about you." Because that explains how people do safe spaces today. It's like we apparently are all into like non-bullying and shit, and we're the most meanest people ever online. Have you noticed that? It's gotten meaner online. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that, whatever.
You're hilarious. Oh, Christy, it's been a real pleasure. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Lawrence Raw Dog Hubbard.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. I really appreciate you taking the time.
And you can just Google Real Deal Comics, COMIX, and you'll see goo gobs and shit about it.
I put up the link.
There you go.
And I dropped it into the chat, so it's a hot link people can click on as well.
Awesome.
You guys better link his shit.
That's right.
You got to.
Already done.
All right. Thank you guys. Much appreciated.
All right,
bye. Thank you.
All right, so we have a little break coming up here before we bring you Heavy Metal Magazine. That's what's coming up here in about 20 minutes here on the Mainframe Comic-Con Hall D. I would really love to mention for you to go by the mainframecomiccon.com website. It's got the schedule for the entire day plus tomorrow. You can see all the panels and all the things that are going on. And again, most importantly, you can donate to the Hero Initiative, the organization, charity that makes all this possible, the organization that helps those creators, artists, and writers that make our comic books everything that they are. So please just take a little bit of time and go over and cruise through there, even if you just spend time looking at what they've got, including our own Mainframe Comic-Con exclusive covers. You can buy some exclusive covers that support the Hero Initiative and this event. So please just take a look if you have the time. We will be back in about 20 minutes with Heavy Metal Magazine. You guys don't want to miss any of that. So please stick around. Hey everybody, we are back. Mainframe Comic-Con marches on. We are in Hall D, where just some of the best in independent comics is happening. We have gotten great stuff from Source Point Press. I see stuff from Aftershock. We got independent self-publishers, all sorts of great things happening in here. I want to direct you, of course, to mainframecomiccon.com, where you can donate to the charity that's making all this possible, the Hero Initiative. You can click and donate for them. So please make sure you make some little fragment of time at some point to do that. But right now, we've got Heavy Metal Magazine, an amazing panel, huge group here coming in to talk to you. And I get to introduce Troy Jeffrey Allen from Preview World Magazine to set this all on stage. Troy, how you doing, man?
What's up? How's it going, John, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. This is a huge panel. I'm super excited to watch it. So I'm going to jump backstage. If you need anything, I'm going to be highlighting people's comments. If people want to super chat, the money goes to charity, and it's a nice way to let Troy know
Absolutely.
you've got a question for the panel. I'll highlight that for the guys.
I love it. Thank you very much.
Introduce everybody. I'm going to hide out back.
All right. What's up, Mainframe Comic Con? I am Troy Jeffrey Allen with Previous World Catalog, but also, and when I say catalog, I'm talking about the guy right here, right? The tome that is the Previews magazine, but also I'm with PreviewsWorld.com. And welcome to Heavy Metal Presents Making IP in the Age of COVID. Let's just get right down to it. Let me introduce you to our panel. First off, I have Brendan Columbus, writer of Savage Circus. Where's Brendan at?
What's up, guys? How you doing,
How's
Troy?
it going? No fair. Are you at a bar?
I wish. No, I'm at my parents' place.
Oh, okay.
I'd much rather be at a bar, Troy. I'll tell you that.
I was gonna say, man, that's like no fair. That's cheating. Like you got the best backdrop.
I know, right? No.
Also
I'm
lining up
trying.
today, we got Matt. Also joining us today is Matt Medney, the CEO of Heavy Metal Magazine. Where's Matt at?
What's up, guys?
How's it going, man? Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Matt.
Pretty good. I'm doing well. Brendan, the mustache just gets better every.
I know it keeps coming out. They're gonna kick me off the panel soon.
No. We gotta keep it going.
Disgusting at this point.
Let's see what other facial hair we got going on here. George C. Romero, writer and filmmaker. Where you at?
No.
What's up,
see,
everybody?
Okay. George,
Oh, it's
George.
George.
He's got the killer mustache. He's got the killer beard. I like it.
Brendan, I got to tell you, that mustache, you literally look like you age 10 years every time I see you.
So I look what, like 40 now?
Yeah, maybe
We're good.
put on
Maybe
50.
No, you look like you should be holding like an old Super 8 though.
Yeah.
Like if I saw you on the street with like a fanny pack, I would assume there'd be a Super 8 in there.
And last but not least, we got Tim Seeley, the editor-in-chief of Heavy Metal Magazine.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Tim? Look at those impressive beards, all around, impressive facial hair all around. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Very manly
COVID
bunch.
Yeah, COVID doesn't leave much to care.
Grooming. I haven't showered.
No, not at all. I mean, you got. Hey, you know what? If you don't go outside, why does it matter?
And that's why I'm glad we're all
So,
in separate locations.
So, guys, the panel, of course, is called Birthing IP in the Age of COVID. And I want to find out, first of all, and we can go around here. Actually, I'm going to point this to Tim because he's editor-in-chief, so he should know, right? What IP are you birthing in the age of COVID?
I don't know. I thought this was like a heavy metal spotlight panel. So for me, it's all stories. So we're doing a lot of stories. We're doing stuff with Mr. Romero here and Mr. Columbus. We're also doing, as heavy metal does, we're doing a bunch of new stories every month. We're also doing comics for some of our most famous characters like Tarna and some other stuff we got coming up. So it's all stories to me. I guess IP is one way to describe it, but yeah, we make stories and lots of them.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I prefer that you make stories and not just IP. I think there's a little bit too much of that going around these days, so much appreciated.
And
So
I would say most of the stuff that we've been, birthing stories, it has happened post COVID.
Yeah.
We've been ramping up, marching on, with George's rise and also taking lead on Nelson with Cold Dead. And then, Brendan, got the killer giraffes with Savage Circus.
Always comes up.
Have to. the best part of the story. No, I'm still. If we're being honest, I'm still waiting on Tim's Western, but we're getting there.
I mentioned I would do a Western someday, and everybody's been up my butt about it since. So now I'm going to have to do some kind of Western.
Yes.
So Matt, actually, you took the reins back in January, right? This is like your first full year.
October, yeah.
October will be okay. October.
Yeah, so I started in October, and then really got my footing in January, and started making changes in February, and then had to be sent home in March. So it's been it's been a very interesting first year, but I mean for us just getting on to the main subject of birthing stories during COVID, it's only possible because we have such a insane fan base that's buying and supporting Comics Direct on our online store. I mean, you're with Diamond, how tough it was in that first few months. It still is getting stuff to stores, and because we have the magazine that's a subscription, and that's part of the business too. We have our own vertical integration that allows for fans to buy printed books right off our site, which has been helping us able to unlock stories like Brendan's and George's and the other things that we're working on that Tim was alluding to, is because the fans are sticking by. They find ways to find the materials.
Right, they want the story, so give it to them, right? Mm-hmm. So actually, I'm sorry, did I just cut somebody off?
No. I was just saying 100%.
Okay. So Matt, actually, I want to ask you, 2020 has been a bitch. It's been a big problem. It's been a tough year. What challenges has heavy metal faced since you've walked on? I know it's only been a couple of months for you, but I mean, this has been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it's the number one thing is you can't get complacent. It's less about challenges and more, every day just needs to be looked at like yesterday doesn't matter anymore. There's no status quo anymore. Every day is its own challenge. And if you kind of look at it in that way, then you always find opportunity in those days rather than looking at the things that might upset you or dishearten you because of the climate. Because I mean, Troy, to your point, it's our industry has taken a bloodbath, to be light about it. And if you focus on that too much, it's toxic. So I mean, something, and I think Brendan, Tim, and George can definitely comment on this. Is at Heavy Metal, we just try to stay positive and focus on creating great story. And it's kind of I'm a sucker for Field of Dreams. So if you build it, they'll read, and
Brendan will come.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, you started Virus during this too.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
We started the creator-owned imprint during this because we weren't sure how long distribution into stores was going to be down. So we knew we had distribution because of how we produced the magazine for subscribers, and we just created a home for creators who have great IP, great story, and great and great just great adventures. And then we were able to give them a route to get that out to people.
Cool. And what about the Vault marriage? That was also something that happened in the last couple of months.
Totally, yeah. I mean, those guys are fantastic. I love working with them. Tim is actually our linchpin, having one of the best-selling comics over at Vault and being our editor-in-chief. He made the introductions, and they're like the young new publisher that's doing really awesome things in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Heavy metal's heavy metal, so it made a lot of sense to find ways to work together, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Heavy Metal 300. This is a big one for you guys, and it actually drops. I'm going to say this quite a few times. It's dropping on Wednesday, guys. So you need to pick it up on Wednesday. But what can you guys tell us about Heavy Metal 300? Actually, I'll kick it over to you, Tim. What prizes are going to be inside this 300th issue?
I love the 300 issue because it's such a combination of all these things that heavy metal has been. So it celebrates the future, but it's also an homage to our past. There's contributions from some of the classic creators. Corbin is in it. Vaughn Baudet has a new story in there with his son Mark Baudet, and we have lots of throwbacks to what heavy metal has traditionally been, and we also have all the new stuff that we're doing. So I'm really proud of it. I think it's it's an issue that I would have gotten at some point as a teenager and just read through and then started back at the beginning and started again. So I think that's it also sets up kind of some of the stuff we're doing later. So it has stories from our new serial stories. So Savage Circus and
Darkwing
and what is all else in there? That Tarna is in there from the new stuff. So Lucy is in there. Yeah, so we got a lot of new, and that's by Liberatore, the famous cartoonist of Ranks. So I think we're doubling down on what makes us heavy metal in this issue.
I love that. And actually, what can you guys tell us about Cold Dead War? Actually, I'll kick it over to you, George. Like, what can you tell me about Cold Dead War?
Well, I guess I have to look at Matt and Tim and ask them, what can I tell them about Cold Dead War?
Oh, no, we love those. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever you want.
Yeah, all right.
You're glad you didn't ask me.
This is being recorded, so there's my clearance right there. Cold Dead War has been one of the highlights of my entire career. I was a heavy metal freak when I was a kid. And when Matt asked me if I would be interested in doing it, I just got giddy. I had every issue that I could possibly get my hands on when I was a kid. I think I wore out the VHS tape, probably 2 or 3 of them, and Nelson is such, it hit home to me for obvious reasons when I was a kid. It was just kind of the one story in the entire movie that I would watch over and over and over again. And it was so cool. And it was such a unique twist on something that I had essentially grown up with at the time. And the idea of being able to kind of explore that story and go as deeply as these guys have given me the freedom to go with it, and to explore, I think my favorite part of it has been to, it's interesting to say this, but to explore kind of the humanity of these zombies, I think has probably been the biggest challenge, just because it's not something that, anybody's ever really truly explored to any kind of critical level. And I think that Cold Dead War really does that. And I think the idea of me getting to do that is probably one of the biggest challenges of my career, and also one of the most fun things I've ever had to do.
Oh, awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I had no idea that it was related to Darkwing. That's going to be really cool. What about Savage Circus?
The movie. So it's related to the animated movie. And it's a sequel to B-17, the animated sequence from the original story. So
right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
What can you guys tell us about Savage Circus?
Everything. I can tell you the whole story if we got enough time.
All right.
No, I can tell you the issue 1 is coming out on Wednesday inside Heavy Metal, and it is a 10-issue serialized comic about a town under siege by like ravenous animals that are going to rip people to shreds, eat babies. There's a rhino puts his tusk through someone. It's really good stuff. So, I'm excited for people to start seeing it. And this artist we got is just insane. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Al is
he did Batman
legacy artist.
Okay.
Savage Circus. I mean, just to give a little more background.
Too, man.
What was that?
He did the one with the killer dinosaurs too. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, he's perfect for Savage.
With Savage Circus, the story that I always like to go back to is I met our now mutual friend Dylan Sprouse through some friends at our production company Diga, and Dylan's pitching me a Sun Eater at the time. We hadn't even signed it yet, and then he tells me about this crazy story that Brendan had in mind, which I won't talk about here because it's not established yet, but we're working on it. It's in development. And let's just say that story made my head turn, and most stories don't make my head turn. And then I was like, I need to meet this guy. And then on our first meeting, which was literally the next day, he starts telling me about a story he has with killer giraffes, which is still my favorite part of the story. And I'm like, done.
That's issue 10. You gotta wait long for that.
I just want to get a tattoo that says killer giraffes now.
People don't realize it's a real problem.
It's a giant
It's a real problem. It's behind everything. So actually yesterday, it was yesterday, a lot of news dropped in regards to heavy metal. And we're not going to talk about the Tarna thing just yet. But the thing that definitely kind of fascinated me was that you guys are doing a universe. Like you're kind of finding the connective tissue and making this like a larger world that kind of all comes together. So how can you guys just talk more about that? Because that's really fascinating.
Yes, I mean the HMU is just
I love it.
linchpin by Tarna, right? So she's like the gardener. She's this cosmic being that touches all of the stories, and we've been fortunate enough to have creators like George and like Brendan, and Tim's brought on some amazing creators like Ron Mars and Bart Sears and Steve Orlando and Blake Northcott and some really awesome creators, and they've all had their own take on a story that lives within this same universe, because as long as Tarna presides as the entity amongst the different galaxies, it all fits under one umbrella. And honestly, that's all I think we'll talk about so far. But the next 12 months of stories that are rolling out through what we call Elements, which is our serializations in the magazine, will be unraveling and building up that universe. So this time next year, there'll be a lot of characters with a lot of conflicts trying to figure out how they all coexist with each other.
Okay, awesome. Is there any plan to make Cold Dead War and Savage Circus part of this, or are they going to be their own separate entity entirely?
Galaxies, I mean, Tarna could go anywhere, right, Matt? So the galaxies are big enough. We could see Louis Savage, going planet to planet, picking up animals too.
Totally, yeah. They all live in the same universe.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, George, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm actually going to kick this over to you too, Brendan. So, for both of you, how did you get involved with heavy metal here? Like, how did you get mixed up in all this? And I'll start with George.
Oh man, well, you know what? I think I'm probably the latest edition out of especially everybody here. But I actually do a show. I have a podcast network called the Indie Brigade, and we put on a fan convention, like a horror fan convention, a virtual one back, I think March 28th and 29th were the dates. And so we reached out to heavy metal. My tech producer, Joe Ridgely, reached out to heavy metal.
Blame Joe.
Hashtag blame Joe to his contact at heavy metal. And Matt emailed me back the next day and said, what's going on? Let's talk. And so we started talking and just instantly vibed. I mean, the creative energy was great. And we started talking about doing this. Matt came on and helped me pull together this convention last minute. And we co-branded it with Romero Pictures and Heavy Metal and the Indie Brigade. And it was a huge success. And then I think that's pretty much in one of those conversations is when Matt saw that thing behind me, the Rise thing, and said, what the hell is that? I'm not sure if I can swear here, so I'm trying to be careful.
It's okay. We've already sworn twice. So
okay. So he said, what the fuck is that?
You got running count.
And so I told him about Rise and this project that I've been working on for a very long time that's become a large part of my life. And so we started talking about that and kind of talked about moving forward with heavy metal and getting me involved with heavy metal. And I was, of course, extremely stoked to do it right away because, like I said at the top, I've been a heavy metal freak since I was a kid. And that's through those conversations is when Matt asked me if I would be interested in coming on to the Cold Dead War. Awesome. And I just flipped right out. So I think that's pretty much the nutshell of how it happened. And it was like lightning in a bottle. So it's been phenomenal, and our creative visions have just continued to vibe, and it's been just a tremendous experience so far.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Brendan? How did you get involved in heavy metal?
Well, it's weird because everyone kind of has the same story. Matt's like this cult leader of creatives. He comes stalks you out. He lures you in, and he is great though. That's why we love him, because I was when I first met Matt, I was a little dejected because I really liked the script I read. It was a movie script at the time, Savage Circus. But I was turned down from every place in LA. They said it was, it's first time director, way too much violence. I had to cut all this out. I met Matt, and he was the first person to tell me, just amp it up. If anything, just do more. And it was such like a comforting. I was so excited. I remember I called my dad immediately. I called my mom, my girlfriend. I was like, oh my God. I met the heavy metal guy. And then I found out Matt read my script literally an hour after I met him, I think. He like went home and read it. And that night he's like, do you know how to panel? Like this is going to be in 300. And they blew my mind. I was so excited.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. So what about you, Tim? Like you are known for books like Hack Slash, of course. Like you're known primarily as a writer. Now you're in the editor-in-chief position and managing editor position. Like what is that like for you? Like how did you get involved in that? Why did you say yes to that?
I mean, I've done everything in comics. I actually, like, my first job, I was an intern at Marvel when I was 21 years old as an editorial intern. And then when I got out of college, I actually worked for a publisher called Devil's Due as the editor, because I knew how to schedule things. That was my big skill that I brought to the
It's important as an editor.
Yeah, very important. And but I've always liked that part. I mean, obviously, I like making my own thing. I like to draw, I like to write, I like to do that stuff, but I really like working with people on their creative stuff. I've always liked that. You know, I used to kind of, in the early days of DeviantArt, I was like a stalker of DeviantArt, finding new artists, and I hired a lot of those people because I really liked working with people to see them through their vision. So heavy metal allows me to do that. When I was first asked to do it, that was kind of the idea is, you know, can you kind of, you know, maintain our vision and help people get there? And I think that's kind of what I'm good at, you know, maybe more so than drawing and writing, is like there's a vision and sticking with it. I think that's what I can do. So and that's what Matt and David let me do here now. I kind of I say, yes, that's heavy metal. That's not heavy metal. That's what I do.
All right, awesome. So actually, one thing I don't think about when I think of heavy metal is Harry Potter, but but you have Dan Fogler, the Fantastic Beasts artist. I mean, actor, like doing a story for you. Can you tell us more about that? You're doing 2 stories, actually, right?
He's actually doing technically 4 with us. 2 are on the next. But you know, he's also, you know, the Walking Dead guy, and he's also, you know, the Balls of Fury guy, which both of those are pretty heavy metal. He is
the Balls of Fury guy. That's right.
And Take Me Home Tonight.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Dan,
okay.
Dan is, you know, just a ball of energy and creativity. Similar story to what Brendan was talking about. Me and Dan got, you know, connected through a mutual friend, Justin, back in October, right when I had taken over heavy metal. And we just had like a crazy creative meeting. And I was just like, I want everything you're working on. And, you know, the stuff he's written for, you know, that's being published under heavy metal. The ones that we can't talk about is Brooklyn Gladiator and Fishko, which live within one universe. And then Moonlake, which is like his homage to heavy metal. It's an anthology graphic novel series. Okay. And those are really dark stories and really great. And, you know, that one of the things that's so much fun about heavy metal and, like, you know, shepherding this brand is you have creators that typically, you know, don't necessarily do stuff in the, you know, PG-13 or, you know, horror, violence area, but always had ideas in those spaces. And, you know, heavy metal is a fantastic playground to really, like, exercise those demons.
Nice. And actually, you also have an illustrated novel that you're working on for heavy metal too, right?
I do, yeah. Beyond Kuiper comes out November 11th. The audio book comes out on November 11th as well with the partner Podium. We'll have some very exciting news surrounding that, revolving some of the people on this panel soon enough. But we'll keep that in the can for right now. But yeah, okay. Beyond Kuiper is you know, it's I call it high five because the science is as accurate as possible. I spent 5 years researching and developing periodic tables and metric systems with my co-creator John Connolly to ensure that the science is really, really accurate.
Oh no, I just made a new periodic table.
Me and George are working on one of those too.
Yeah.
You've seen it. You guys have seen it. You know I'm not.
He's not bullshitting. I saw it. He's named like 712 planets, he told me.
Yeah, you got to create the universe.
Shout out to being thorough. I love it.
And then you know, another thing that we have coming out that you know, Brendan and George have touched very closely is Wonderwork, which is, you know, our first real off the page endeavor since, you know, the movies. And Wonderwork is, a narrative audio adventure. And, we have a Savage Circus episode, and we have a Deadverse episode that lives within the Rise universe called Bluegrass. And the narrative podcast, I call them, they're movies without a screen.
Okay, nice, awesome. So let's talk about the Tarna pages now, right? Because I know people want to know about this. The news dropped last night. Like, truthfully, I saw it in my feed online, and I'm just like, wait, what? Yes, of course this is the thing you guys should be doing, right? A Tarna book and like revolve an entire universe around her. But how is this different from other versions of Tarna, or how does it bleed into like the larger idea here? Tell us more about it. It could be, Matt, Tim, whoever wants to go.
Tim, do you want to take it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, you got kind of cut off from us, so we missed your question, Troy. I apologize. You stopped and so I didn't get your question. It was something about Tarna.
The conversation, no problem. Yeah, no, just wanted to know more about this new Tarna series. Like, I know there was the Alex DeCampi series like a couple of years ago, but like this is something completely new and is springboarding off of the movie, right? So what more can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If you are familiar with the heavy metal animated movie, the cover is Tarna on the back of Avis, and she's a very iconic design, white hair, black bikini with red armor, and she's riding a weird Mobius design bird. And so, it's a thing that I think everyone remembers about that film. And the character, is something we always talked about. What is some things that people instantly associate with this magazine, and she's one of them. Right. So we put together a series. She's going to have stories that appear in the magazine, so there'll be shorts in the magazine, and then they will also tie into these series of miniseries kind of approach to doing comics with her in them, and it's all kind of a sequel to the original cartoon segments. And in this story, it's helping us set up this larger universe. You see that she's sort of part of this sort of society of kind of forces, these elemental forces that are turned into these beings, and they're all have their own separate interests, and so Tarna is kind of the defender of life out of that, out of all these beings that kind of couldn't give a crap about living creatures. So it's a little bit fantasy, a little bit barbarian, high sci-fi stuff. It's drawn by Patrick Zerker. It's written by Stephanie Phillips. It looks incredible, and we're really pretty excited about it. I think it's the thing that makes the most sense. Like you said, of course, why wouldn't we do a Tarna series? She's
Sure.
she's our Spider-Man. She's our Batman. She's our Marquee.
And we have a short in 300 that kind of helps set up that world, illustrated by Butch Geist.
Okay, nice.
Really, really going to be cool. But yeah,
really cool.
Yeah,
and George is going to cosplay as Tarna at the next Comic-Con, right?
That's true.
So we have to be excited for that.
It's very true.
Comb his beard up this way.
The ultra comb over.
That's why I'm growing it now, so I can really just nail it. Besides, it's not a stretch. I was just cosplaying as Tarna this morning over coffee.
The bikini will be great.
The neighbors were like, "What the fuck?"
Amazing.
I mean, you know what? How you start your morning is your business, George. So, Brendan, why should people? Well, there you go. Everybody's got their thing. So, Brendan, why should people read Savage Circus? Who is Savage Circus for, and why should they read it?
Savage Circus, I always wanted it to be more of a throwback to 80s style movies. Something like Gremlins, a little Spielberg in there as like a grand adventure story, but when the stakes are pushed to 11. So maybe, the Gremlins could scratch you, but here a lion can tear you to shreds, And I really wanted to be a family story too, set during Christmas time. It's a throwback with stakes. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people enjoy it, and I would read it. So I hope you would.
There you go.
I might have just wrote it for myself, honestly.
I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. George, what about you? Why should people read Cold Dead War? Like who is it for? What type of audience is it for?
Because it's the single most important piece of literature ever. People should read Cold Dead War for a lot of reasons, but I mean, look, you've got on the one end of the spectrum, you've got the reasons that people should read it being fun. You've got the reasons that people should read it being loyal, longtime fans of a legacy brand like heavy metal. You've got the reasons that people should read it because it comes after the B-17 segment of the movie. But most importantly, I think you should read it because it's part of the launch of the next 100 years of the heavy metal legacy. Number one, and number two, it's like it's a well thought out universe, the heavy metal universe, and the Deadverse that Matt brought up earlier, and they're all well thought out and plotted, and everything that's a piece of it is you're going to need all of it. Like if you want to get any of it, you're going to need all of it. And that goes for everything from the comics to the books to the elements to the Wonderwork episodes that Matt was talking about that are movies without the screen. I mean, they all tie in. Everything on some level is required to understand the entire big picture here. And I think that is one of the things that is going to stand out to fans of the heavy metal legacy brand more than almost anything.
Cool. Awesome. And Tim, why should people pick up a Heavy Metal 300? Like, what's well, we know who's it for. It's for heavy metal fans. It's a celebration of all things heavy metal. But why should people pick it up?
I mean, number one, everything sucks and it's an escape. So that's number one.
that's a big number one. Yes.
Also, I mean, I think it's our best. It's our best foot forward. It's us looking at what works. Over these 300 issues, we've kind of gotten to take a survey of everything that makes this thing popular and resonate and still around after all this time. And I think we distilled it. We distilled it into a perfect issue, and hopefully that is the way forward for us. And if you've lapsed and haven't picked it up in a while, check this one out. I think we can get you back. And I think if you're already a fan, you're going to be super into it. And if you've never tried it, it's an anthology of high quality science fiction stories from around the world, science fiction and fantasy, and we've been doing it for a long time, and we've kind of got it figured out. So, definitely check it out.
Awesome. And Matt, I'm gonna bring it over to you for the last question. What can people expect from heavy metal? Just in the coming months.
More unexpected story. I think that's the key that we're working on right now. Heavy Metal is now officially a monthly magazine again. We haven't been in over a decade. So starting with 300, it's every month. We have original comic series that are outside the magazine starting in October with Cold Dead War. And, I think heavy metal, for a lot of people, my age and Tim's age and George's age, Brendan's like 17, so he's a little younger.
I just TikTok all the time.
That's why he keeps gluing on different mustaches.
This is so he can buy beer.
But for a lot of people, the memory of heavy metal was, the stories that evolved into Fifth Element, that evolved into Blade Runner, that evolved into all of these incredible sci-fi movies, and the artists of heavy metal touching Alien and touching Star Wars and Blade Runner and all of these sci-fi behemoths now, all had a nucleus from heavy metal, and people that were growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s really knew what the brand stood for and what came out of it. And that's a big thing for us, with 300 and in 2020 and moving forward is kind of going back to those roots and really analyzing what is the next thing in science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and how do we nurture that, and how do we help bring that to the forefront and help bring that off the page and into theaters or Netflix or TV and bring shepherd a new age of science fiction, fantasy, and horror fans with really bone-chilling futuristic works.
Awesome. And look, guys, it all starts on Wednesday, April 19th. Heavy Metal 300 is going to be hitting shops. And I actually want to give a shout out to your marketing guy, Chris Longo, because he's been hooking me up with some fun interviews.
Yeah.
undercover. So
Chris is the
definitely
man.
I love
Definitely.
Chris.
definitely go to previewsworld.com and check out some of the interviews that I've been doing with some of the cover artists, because they break down the process and show you everything from the blue lines to the pencils to the final product. And on top of that, again, April 19th, Heavy Metal. I've got 3 covers I'm picking up, and you should too. So definitely check that out. Guys, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you making my life a little bit cooler by coming on over and sitting down with me in the end of a Saturday. Hey, guys, Mainframe Comic Con, be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be talking with the people of AWA, and keep an eye on the rest of the schedule over at mainframecomiccon.com. Catch you later.
Thanks,
Nice
guys.
to see you. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks so much, guys. That was awesome. Great panel. Troy, you killed it. Thanks, brother. Much appreciated. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Mainframe Comic Con day 1 is a wrap. The D for Hall D stands for done. We are done. Please, again, check out mainframecomiccon.com, the website. The schedule is there. We got a whole other day for you coming tomorrow. The same amazing halls, the same amazing content. You should definitely hang out and enjoy it. Please also donate to the Hero Initiative. It's a great charity doing great things for comic book creators, artists, writers, all just supporting the health finance needs of these talented people that really, really need it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for hanging out, and have a great weekend. See you tomorrow for more Mainframe Comic Con goodness.